All right, hello and welcome. We've got the CGL Summer Series Invitational going on for North America. I'm Yell Kreb, joined by my good buddy Neely. And Neely, a little bit of a thunderstorm going on in your room.
Thunderstorm. Yeah.
Anyway, CGL Summer Series Invitational. It's hot in Neely's house. It's gonna
Yeah.
be hot in these games. Top 20 of each group. We're doing Group A. There's a totally different group that has 20 teams as well. That's Group B. Top 20 of both groups are going to play in the grand finals, just so you know the stakes. Neely, what are you looking forward to in today? You were just saying how much you love these groups.
Yeah, I really like the group that we're going to get to do because we know literally Vibing is easily one of the best teams probably in this whole tournament. Has the highest probability of running away with this whole thing. But I also love the number 3 team that I'm looking at here, Raging Nuts, because obviously fantastic name.
So
Can't
aggressive, though.
It's super aggressive. But last time I got to see them, granted they might have changed it up. I'm not entirely sure, but last time I got to see them, they played that Bangalore, and nobody else does that. So I like to see they kind of kept it going because that's just a not like an off meta pick, but they played it with the Bloodhound. I know they swapped it. I think playing it with the Seer, and obviously having an Octane going along with it. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna do today. But Lucky SF, awesome team or Pepinito. Apologies. All teams that we kind of know about. FSU, I forget what that stands for, but that's not important because I don't think we're supposed to. I think
Not
it's just kind
important.
of a
They are the defending champs, though. They won
yes,
the June Brawl under the different name United. I think it's going to be a totally different roster, though, because they have had some
yeah,
complications over the course of qualifiers, to say the
yeah,
least. I think one of their players was on a ban list. So, yeah, we'll see
yeah,
how they shake up. But still a strong team, strong org. Definitely look out for FSU. Another team I had on my list was Buff Pathfinder. They're down in the number
yeah.
9 spot today, but I think they could really kind of pull up and show a lot of these teams what they got cooking. I think they hid some strats in the qualifiers, going over your scoreboard now, where you can kind of see how things are going to shake out when somebody actually gets that win or that top placing finish. One kill also equals 1 point. So, say, Neely, I mean, we've seen as many as I think 23 kills in a game before.
Yeah,
So you could really rack up a serious
if
amount of
not
kills.
more.
35 is the most we've seen. So just keep that number in the back of your head as well as we go forward. But just talk about, aside from placing well, how that even transpires in these super high rig lobbies where the stakes are just incredible compared to your normal ranked games. We love to use the term respect, but just what does that mean in your eyes?
Well, especially today where everything truly matters. Obviously, in qualifiers, everything matters as well. But this is just almost like another, it's still, you got to make it to that next day. And it's getting right down to it. And you have to place high. You can't, there's no way you can drop and place, 18th with 3 kills. Like you're just not going to get anything. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you have to get those top placements, and the respect that is going to get shown to everybody is going to be so strong.
Yeah, those top placements mattering a ton. I guess we can talk about just the order of some of the teams we're going to see playing. Literally, Vibing does have that number 1 seed in Group A. We talked about some of the others like Buff Pathfinder kind of hanging down there, but we've got a returning team, Aquatic Esports, all the way down at number 20 in Group A.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've got a chance to punch up pretty good today as well.
I think most of these teams do. I remember seeing one of those Nell teams. I forget which one, but there's Nell B, there's Nell Tormenta. I don't remember Tormenta, but I believe I remember Nell B, and at least it's a bigger org. I think they have a bunch of teams. I remember some of those teams doing really, really well on one of the days that we got to watch. So I think most of these teams kind of could punch up. And that's why when we say respect, it's like all these teams are good. No one's a slouch. There's obviously the best, there's probably the worst, but at the end of the day, you don't just want to drop and try to fight somebody in Fragment like you do in pubs.
That's crazy. I mean, sometimes literally Vibing during a lot of the qualifiers, they would just drop Fragment and they would be alone on East and West, pretty much get all the loot they want. That's the kind of respect we're seeing is once those drops are established, and over the past month, really, we've gotten to see what teams like to drop where. I think the main point of scrims is probably just learning what your opponent's strategies are, where you might be running into certain teams. So a lot of that is already figured out going into this game, which is kind of cool. You get to see like a true final product of 40 teams when we get to Group B, only doing Group A today, but they've
Yeah.
really got each other figured out. They know what is going to be at every single different part of Fragment. They know where the circle pulls, what teams they can expect to meet along the rim. And it's honestly kind of scary. I mean, you can tell if a team knows that they've got to read, say, Team Viral, the 2 seed, if they run in to, let's say, Pressure Alpha, the 13, they're going to know they have that edge just on paper. And in
Yeah,
ranked,
absolutely.
you never get that. That's just called ego. But we
Yeah.
got statistically proven ego in this. And that's actually kind of fun to see take places. You're going to see some of these top teams really just dummy push some
Yeah.
enemy squads and a lot more respect given throughout the rest of the competition.
It is always interesting to see how it shakes up. Sometimes the first match, people are just kind of feeling each other out, seeing where we drop, figuring stuff like that. And then as it goes on, as teams need to do better, sometimes there's a little bit more aggression taken by certain teams. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's really hard to just run through these lobbies when you need to play catch up. I don't think I've ever seen a team play catch up truly successfully, which is why a word I always use on every stream I use for this is consistency. Consistency is so key in everything you do in Apex. Whether you're playing ranked, really anything, if you want to like rank up, you have to be consistent every game. If you're consistent, you will rank up. You will get those games that are good that boost you, but you got to remain inconsistent even in those bad games. And that's what these teams need to do, like literally vibing, is they're so consistent at a high level, they can really manufacture a lot of kills and a lot of high placements. I feel like they're one of those teams that's going to place top 5 most of today.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, they've collected a lot of kills over the course of qualifiers, but I think today every team is going for the end game. During the June Brawl, though, just to bring it back to that, because that is really the only knowledge we have of CGL Apex, but during the June Brawl, FSU, formerly United, again, shaking up roster, but just going on what happened in June, they were doing great in qualifiers in terms of kills. But somehow, when the competition was at its highest point, they turned it up to another level and
Yeah.
dropped those 23 bombs that we saw on the final day when things were as hard as they've ever
Yeah.
been. So we could see a lot of these teams, and FSU right now, they're currently ranked 8th. We could really see a lot of these teams turn up the dial on what they showed us in qualifiers.
Yeah, I do truly wonder because I mean that is such an important thing. I'm sure not all of these people have competed. Some people know how to turn it up on the day. And again, as you said, that United slash FSU team, they just I mean they had some bad, qualifier days. And then they just on the day, I've never seen anything in any esports so dominant
No.
in a final type situation. So I'd be interested to see if that FSU roster, even if it's a different roster, they only have like say one player, maybe two, maybe if they can kind of replicate that in this day. Because I mean, it's up for grabs to anybody on this day to try to get to that next round, and then again, high intensity. We'll see who can do it.
Should be getting into the game momentarily. I know the lobby is definitely set up at this point, probably waiting on a couple or maybe a couple more slackers getting into the lobby late, but should be getting going here, chat. So just hang tight. Neely, if you just want to talk about the changes that happened to this map, we're going to be dropping into. For example, Overlook. I mean, we play the game together sometimes. You know how much I love how that part of the map was changed and how it rotates into Geyser. What do you
Yeah.
think that kind of opens up on the east side of the map? Because typically, this map, all the action is either in Fragment or it's on the west side.
Yeah, I mean, it just gives you another rotation path, and then especially in these high ranked games, rotation paths are so key. Even in some of my stupid easy ranked games, rotating is so important, and just trying to find a way to do it where you don't get pinched. And having just an extra way to do that overlooks a place a team is gonna drop today, absolutely. And I guarantee we're gonna have a circle end in Overlook. I feel like we always have a circle end right on or around Overlook. But if we want to talk about some more areas, I forget towards the north part of the map, they have that new gondola place. I forget what it's called now, but they've really remapped that sort of area of the map. And I really like that. I feel like it kind of brings a lot more to the table of actual fun map to play. It was just kind of an open area with one big building. It was kind of lame. Now it's really a point of interest to play around. There's some new bridges, just a lot more to play around. And then of course
New
we
high
have
ground
Lava
with a
Siphon.
great scan on
Yes.
it too.
Yeah, a high ground that I lost to the other day. Not liking that high ground, but I know what you're talking about. But Lava Siphon, really important because that was Sorting Factory. That's where United dropped. That's where they ran it. We've seen some teams start doing that. I forget who started going Lava Siphon, but it was the same teams that went Sorting Factory. And we know that somebody's going to drop there because there's a ton of high tier loot there.
It's a great spot to drop for sure. But really, the changes to the map just open up so much. The north side of the map still looking for a little bit of love, but that doesn't matter too much as long as we get a nice round map going. Not everyone's pubs are just going to be ridiculous where if you don't drop fragment, you see no action. In this game, you could honestly drop fragment and not see a lot of action for a long time.
Yeah. Everyone's going to drop pretty spread out, you know. It's going to be I really think this first game we're not going to really see a kill until, well, maybe not a kill, but a squad wipe might not happen until second circle starts closing.
Yeah. And kind of to that second circle starting to close, we've seen it go to 3 zones, no fight. So we're just got to be talking a lot if things start going slow. Just remember, once that second zone closes, we're going to go from probably 18 squads to 12. We're going to be lucky if we see 2 fights because we've got a great production team with us. You can find them on Twitter along the CGL tweets. Also, CGL dropping a pro merch collection. So we're going to actually see a lot of the jerseys from teams over Games Pass. It could be, Apex Orgs, could be Overwatch, could be anything. Fighting game, but they're going to be on there. That's going to be, what's the website? What's new.gg. New is spelled a little different, though. That's why I had to look at it. It's what's normal, and then neu.gg, and then you can look up the Console Gaming League collection to get a sneak peek at those jerseys that are going to be coming real soon. So that's actually pretty exciting. But it looks like we've actually got some teams getting set up, starting to pick their legends, and Neely, we're going to see a lot of Gibraltar. We're going to see a lot of that fancy new shiny toy that everyone's got in their hands, and that's going to be Seer. But aside from those 2 picks, how does the meta differentiate?
I mean, honestly, not. I don't know if the meta changes. Like, you mean of characters or how it's played? I mean, or either, really. I guess you're probably
Yeah, a little
asking.
of both. I mean, what does a team that uses, let's say, Seer, Gibby, and Wraith get that a team that might use Gibby, Valk, and Octane doesn't get?
So both teams are going to get that scan on beacons, right? But you're not going to have the scan and all that utility that Seer can bring to the table.
Yeah, and how important is it, do you think, to have a defensive legend and, let's say, a recon legend, and then that other legend sometimes used for rotation, sometimes used to just double down on a bunker strat? But wouldn't you say that mainly you definitely want a defensive legend, some end game kind of legend like Gibby, who has that shield that can take up an entire final zone at times, and then also having that recon scan, because we do see a lot of these top teams as they come in just wanting that info, wanting that scan so they can plan their game accordingly.
Well, as I said, rotations are just so important. So having a scan on a beacon can just be so important in these games. Dropping at trees, team viral here. Just getting the loot, nothing too crazy, but it's always interesting to see what these teams do. Knight, former player for Civ Offhelm in the June series, played with a great player called Jarovic, but he was good in his own right.
Jarovic
Yeah.
was a headliner in the June series,
Can't
though I
believe
was
we don't
surprised
see
not to see him now. He might have actually switched on over to PC, which might be why he's not in this. But yeah, what a star that guy was, and he had a great team. They seemed a little bit like a supporting cast at times, but that's only because I think there were 2 end games that pop up into my memory where Jarovic just goes 1v3, 1v4, and ends up the kill leader of these games. But you're totally right, to your point. Alongside Jarovic, he knows how to prop up a great team and be a part of one.
Also, I mean, speaking of meta changes, I just got my mind jogged because there were so many changes to hero buffs, to characters being added, to gun changes, guns on the ground like that Prowler we just saw. But the L-Star, I'm curious if a lot of teams are going to start using this L-Star because it's a really strong gun. It's an LMG, but it plays a lot like an SMG.
Here we are, we can start seeing with our own wall hacks, as that does seem to be the meta these days, that there is quite a bit of tension over on this side of the map, and it looks like both squads just kind of poking it out, trying to feel what the other team's armor situation is. If anyone goes low, we are seeing a bit of a push here along the left side as they try to take this high ground and rotate in. They've gotten 1 crack on a shield, and they've probably read that there's only 2 grays in the blue, so this team, Viral, trying to push an advantage they know they have.
Yeah, absolutely. And they definitely want to try to get that. But again, you don't want to get caught hunting kills because we can see all these people, but they obviously cannot see all these people, but you kind of have to expect that you have other people hearing your gunshots. If you start getting too crazy and chasing a team down, then you might just get caught out in your own right. That team gets away, and now you're the one on the pinch, and now you're getting shot by 2 teams instead of chasing one.
Yeah, and this was a team that was set up to chase probably didn't have that Octane jump pad on the cooldown just yet. We are down to 17 squads. A couple of gone by the way of the wayside, but here we do see just the last bit of the loot run picked up as the circle is going to start to close, and we might end up seeing some teams funnel into some chokeways and get some third-party, fourth-party action. I'm looking to see this 17 and just waiting for it to go down to about 10 in a heartbeat, but all these rotations just coming through. There's many more loot boxes to be open.
Absolutely. I can't believe Dynamite hadn't gotten his treasure pack for the day yet. Have you not been warming up and playing? Dynamite.
I mean, it's important he got it. But you're right, no warm-up. I highly doubt he didn't see one earlier.
Of course. Ooh, Patty Slump God's going to be falling really low. Dynamite's full shield right now, but either way, better than Asu coming over back to Nell. Popping that Seer ult. This is such a powerful ult here, Yelk. You can see everything that's happening, but they're going to have to push into a Caustic, which is so hard now because that's also been buffed. Well, actually, no, they are the Caustic. My apologies.
They're just getting that respect, I believe. They popped some damage into Patty's own barrels just so they could kind of smoke out this area. We can see, though, that the action is still close by. We might even have a third squad already in the mix here, but it looks like at least 4 people are in this hero. We've got the first down, though, and that's on to Patty. Arca 0. Getting that L-Star kill onto him. Nearly there's your gun you were talking about. Patty was actually finished off there by Hokage. So we could see this team coming in. They know they've got the advantage. There's going to be nothing left with Caustic's barrels in the way.
Oh, he gets stuck right there. That's going to potentially spell death, or maybe that just grazed him, gets the armor swamp up, gets ripped really quick. Trying to trade these shots. Dynamite.
Down.
Oh, they got one. 2v2.
2v2. Hokage goes down as well. There's only one left in this fight. Locking up with the shotgun is Dynamite. And he lets the boomstick rumble there to finish off that squad and clutch it for his team despite losing Patty so early.
Wow. That was cool round for Nell Tormenta. Even in my games, any game you see of this, the higher you go, you lose somebody early, especially your Caustic, the person that's supposed to kind of lock you in there, keep you safe. He goes down, gets eliminated, and then immediately they just turn the tide. They get 3 downs. Who was that he had a wingman? He just put somebody away, and I think 3 shots.
Yeah, Hokage got laced. When he stepped into that doorway, probably caught a headshot, maybe even 2, really quick, and then obviously Dynamite walking up with that Mastiff. Knew he had the fight in his hands, and that team just turned the confidence dial all the way to 10 once they picked up those 2 downs. What a turnaround in a fight, though. You're pushing into a Caustic. You get the Caustic down first, and then you over that staircase using to just take some cover behind, but cover was few and far between in that fight. I was not expecting Nell Tormenta to turn it around.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. That was... It's a pretty rare turnaround there, Yelk, if I really had to say so. I mean, we've kind of already keyed into it, but that's just a rare turnaround. Getting the armor swaps on, giving Gibby the lowest armor shield that they have, because he can get those free pokes with the arm shield. It's another reason what makes Gibby so strong. Gibby is so strong on every level. The only thing that makes him not good is that he is just so darn big. And even though he is so darn big, he's got the armor shield to kind of make up for it and take up a good 30% chunk of the biggest damage you can do to his body besides his head. So he has a lot of things going for him, and if he was a smaller character, he would be the most broken OP character in this game.
Chuck Norris on Team Pepinito kind of trying to run out of the way there as he sees a team pushing up on him in that tunnel. We've actually seen Chuck Norris in particular in qualifiers fall very early in games, and I was looking at the mini-map right there, and nearly I did not see friendlies nearby. So I am worried for Chuck.
Yeah. Ooh, someone gets knocked really early here. Buff Pathfinder on the prowl. Let's see if they can finish it up. We haven't seen a team finish a fight that they started yet.
Chuck Norris can still feed to the meantime. Didn't give it down, but Team Evil down to their final member to Gibby. Almost dancing like a champ, but it's not going to be enough as he's taken down, and Buff Pathfinder get their first fight win of the Invitational.
Fantastic. I do love the team. I like a team name that kind of has to do with the game. Clearly not represented by any org, just a team of guys trying to get it done and do it together. But I actually didn't look. They do have a Pathfinder, correct? They can't not have one.
They do.
They do. Good. I like any team, because I was going to go into this, I like any team that is willing to run a Pathfinder because he is so good. But Octane is usually what you'd pick over a Pathfinder because he's got the better rotation tool in the jump pad.
I mean, Octane can just go on a dime to get it back so fast. I think it is hilarious. We didn't even really talk about it after, but Chuck Norris did go down, by the way. I pointed to center field, and I called my shot with some experience. But it now looks like he's back in the action. They're going to be getting into a fight here soon as Pressure Alpha is coming up on the tunnel they're occupying.
Absolutely. Has the Seer ult online, saving it right now. I'm curious how he's going to use it. I am always curious how these high-level players are going to use it, because I feel like for me, you want to use it to last as long as possible, but they might just use it for a quick scan. If it gets focused, it gets focused. But if they get the intel that they need, they might have it. Using that heartbeat with the hands out, it's going to cancel the ability. Here's another fight. That Seer ult is currently out, and Gibby ult coming out over the top of it. Somebody's under a bit of pressure, but they're going to just be hiding away right inside of that building on launch site.
This is going to be MXH and Team Viral, who we were riding along with earlier in this game. Now it looks like they're squared off toe-to-toe. Pretty much in the same situation they were in the first time. Oh, we've actually got a little bit more action going on. This is a trifecta of squads we got poking around this side of the map. And we've got a minute 30 until the ring closes, so it looks like a pretty easy scenario for at least 2 squads to make it out of here alive. But as we see the push coming up, we do see Raging is the team caught in this pincer. That's not where they want to be, but that Seer Q already was sent out, and they know they've got no scans, no stuns left in the tank. They're pushing up with this effort of their own.
They've got no Gibby. Now they're just chasing the shields out. Now they're past it, and they're just hunting them down. That Gibby ult's out, but it's going to be indoors, so it's not going to do anything.
They've got the first down. Potato not able to escape the grip of Raging. This is fierce aggression that we've seen from this team. They knew the situation they were caught in. They were in the middle of that engagement, in the least likely spot to come out the victors of a fight. Once that Seer scan got used and they pushed this aggression, there was no turning back. They know that team is behind them. They've got to be careful when this fight ends of the third party if they even end up the victor.
I love that path grapple. It's one of those fun things to do in this game. Straight beams, takes him right out, no questions asked. They're just going to nice him right up. Now we're getting the over-the-top view. Seeing anything around. It looks like one guy is going to be sneaking away right there, yo. But this is the team that I said was going to be running the Bangalore, and they've switched it to a Pathfinder, which is interesting because usually you'd be like, oh, well, they're just going to swap it to a Gibby and be safe and be like everybody else, but they're all in on the aggression here, yo. They have the Pathy, but they have an Octane for, honestly, their real rotations. And then they have the Pathfinder to just take crazy angles. They get somebody low, and he can just execute on it with that grapple.
And this will be something to keep an eye on, too, is this could be the team in this tournament that is the Koch Red of the June Brawl, the team that is so good at being hyper-aggressive but lacks the Gibby in the endgame to close out their matches. We're going to see, are they going to play second or third, and the only thing that killed them really was a Gibby ult right on top of their head with no bubble? Yeah. It's got to be something you have to keep in mind.
And it's something you go, oh, I can avoid Gibby bubble, but I'm telling you, anyone who didn't see the June Brawl, we watched
the sky is falling.
We watched Koch Red exclusively die to that ult more than one time. Just at least 3 that I can name, but they lost way more games than that just to maybe not getting circle and running a heavily ultimate reliant comp.
Team Viral's taking some stun damage from that scan as they're on the way to the high ground. There is a Seer ultimate thrown out, and we're seeing the rotation come in. Oh man, that pad is missed, and this could spell trouble. Knight having that heartbeat, getting that info early. I know he's getting pushed, but looks like a very interesting rotation we're seeing from Viral.
Yeah. Smart though. I actually saw a clip of a Octane making a kind of a crazy rotation like this. It was a little crazier. Was able to hit some nice B-hops and get a heal off going down a hill. And it's just something that some of these players can do. They're willing to make a rotation that you or I look at and go, nah, there's no way we have to take this route. They have to see these special scenarios where they can take advantage of a rotation like that. Now they're safe. They're in a tunnel. They know the one way their opposition can come from. If they get pinched now, they get pinched now, but at least they have an opportunity to do what they need to do.
And we've got some heavily contested play on the other side of a different tunnel. 2 teams starting to clash here, as you can see in your third-person camera in the top left, as we're riding along with Viral currently, but looks like there's a third party inching closer to this one on the backside. So even though these Seer ultimates are being used and there's a lot of pressure on the pitch right now, Team Viral's coming over the top. They're getting into this action real late, and the crack comes through, making it down on the Bam Bam.
Yeah, that right there is why Gibby's tough. He is big, especially when his back's turned. You know, the Seer scan gonna come out. It's just gonna hit the down guy though. Not going to do too much for him, but the Gibeon now going to be taking that high ground away from them if anybody dares to take it. Probably trying to secure that kill that they got. They don't want to invest a super hard push because they know how many teams are in this area. 2 Seer ults are out. Yeah, you don't want any part of this smoke, Yell.
Team Viral in such a good spot. Great observing, catching that storyline of this first game the entire way as this team goes out and around the map and they get some KP onto that down on Bam Bam and then just assert over this positioning on the outside of this tunnel. That was a great effort from Viral and a smart play made 2 minutes before it happened.
Absolutely. Seems like nothing's really happening yet. We're on circle 3 though. 13 squads left, everybody. This circle is getting pretty tiny at this point, and we are we're in it. R99 swaps to the crack, gonna get cut down. He was already kind of in that fight, and he's not gonna quite get out of it yet. But he has a few nice shots, showing why he's a good player in a lot of situations, but he can't win a 3v1.
Del Tormenta picking up that kill. Be interested to see the lobby leaderboard of which teams are doing how much of the damage in this lobby we got going on, because we're down to the 12 squads literally vibing, looking like they're upholding a high ground. They've already been in a skirmish in this one as well. You can see Sadie does have a kill. Jaren over qualifiers, the Gibraltar for literally vibing, has been such a standout player in my eyes. This man's accuracy is off the charts. I'm just saying it now because you're gonna notice it later, time and time again.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a very, very good player. And he responds to me on Twitter sometimes. So if you respond to me on Twitter, immediately I'm going to talk about you a little bit. For a second, I thought he had a peek. I forget he's using the heartbeat sensor. Sadie. Surprised Jaren's not taking the weaker
imagine if there was a
armor,
peek
though.
there? Hold on.
Yeah, no. That'd be ridiculous. But there's some crazy peeks in this game from a high ground roof down into buildings. We got
Raging Nuts is actually in a fight right now. It looks like they just picked up either a down or a kill. Action going on the outsides of these glaciers here. We can start to see 4 squads forming up around this, trying to get to the highest point of this so they can have the best advantage going into the end game. Pressure Alpha under a little bit of pressure of their own, and Jarek has to be selling up on the outside of this door as the poke phase has officially started, whether he likes it or not.
Took his head off. Nice shot right there. Doesn't quite hit the second one because, I don't know, sometimes the 30-30 is magical. And even though you feel like you're pointing straight at someone, you just can't hit a shot. That L-Star's loaded up, yo. It's got quite a few bullets ready to shoot him. And he's also got the charge rifle. Charge rifle Charlie, as they call it sometimes. Just kind of poking away in the back line, usually just farming damage to get those shields up. Oh, he's going to take him right off that high ground, Yelk. He might have got an unfortunate bounce with the ult there, though. Might have bounced away a bit, but I still think it's going to claim that high ground away from them.
Should be enough here. RGR looks like they're on the move, and they do see that Gibeon coming down close by, but contested a little bit by these cliff tops, as we can see teams just running away from fights at this point. And this is what you need to do, third zone into fourth. You know that you've got a good shot in this game. By now, your team is kitted. You are looking to avoid any action that doesn't just spell an end game advantage for your team.
Absolutely. I'm sad for his G7 because it only has a red dot on it, but he's got that alternator on his side, so any team's got to watch out. That's one of those new guns, one of those new shakeups. The alternator with the disruptor rounds is terrifying for all bystanders, all comers, anybody who wants to face off with it, because it's terrifying. It just destroys you.
Truly does shred like no other gun I've seen in the game. I mean, I am new to Apex. This is an old game, and I am coming in late to the party, so I never actually got to experience those alternator rounds. Jaren actually steps in with the flatline, controlling it perfectly to get that down. Banshee follows up with a second, and that is why literally vibing is just such a threat in these games. They came out of nowhere. The Seer scan was on point, and the aggression was full throttle.
Absolutely. Raging is going to lose one. I'm assuming it's still literally vibing. No, it's not. I forget who Jer is a part of, but they're locked up in this building. Gotta be able to get this res though, because he hits the jump pad. I love doing that, giving your down player a jump pad. They're coming in.
Pressure Alpha. They want to keep it up here. They've got the down. They've got the finish. Now they're gunning down the Pathfinder, trapping the Seer as well, and Pressure Alpha. Their own little bubble fight. They are going to pick up that second down, and that should be it for Team Raging. They're going to be out of this one seemingly early, finishing at 8th place unless Above Minds can get away somehow. Going to be miraculous if he does, but I believe Pressure Alpha is going to be thirsty on this.
Yeah, it seems like they were able to farm out some kills though, and Above Minds gets run up on. I guess he didn't hear him because so much was happening, Yell. That was a wake-up call.
Literally
though.
vibing. Look at
So
that
much
armor
health.
situation. Isn't that just what you hope for every single game?
I like that they're just giving Jaren juiced armor. We're just going to make him a Juggernaut, give him effectively 300 HP with the arm shield. I was doing the math on that the other day. With the damage reduction that Gibby gets and the arm shield, he can be effectively 300 HP. And that is horrifying to run into.
Yeah, I mean, probably the only true tank essence this game has to offer. I mean, you and I both came across the pond from Overwatch there, so a couple of Rhine mains here. Loving Gibby with the red armor. As the only member of his squad with the red, that is just a beautiful sight. For the big man in the paint.
I just want to know if there's an R99 clip that can one-clip him. If they go straight arm shield, of course. These players are obviously very good. Probably going to hit some headshots, you know, make it happen. But still, 300 health against a guy that's not going to miss, terrifying.
We're on right now, probably the final rotations as we've got 7 squads. And this is what we mean, where the Gibraltar is pretty necessary because you're not always going to see the final couple of zones like this where there are really a number of buildings you can take housing in. But in the end game, these Gibby ults are going to be back online, and the sky is seriously going to be falling on some of these teams that are going to be looking a little too naked without the Gibby out there.
Yeah, I feel like a couple Gibbies have kind of used their ults maybe too early. You could, but again, you never know when you're going to go out. You don't want to die with the ultimate, so maybe you can get some value, force a team out of the position, force them into a position like a building, and then you can maybe take a high ground or whatever you're trying to do with your rotation. So I'm sure it has a tactical reason, but again, if the later you can save that ultimate, the more havoc it can wreak on everybody. But yeah, there's 2 cars in here, Searscan. God, that is so jarring.
Like RGR getting a little bit low on resources, or else the Gibby would probably have more than just 1 cell remaining. Has some throwables to use though to put some pressure on, and we are going to see this zone pulling. It looks like left side here. No, it's like bottom right of the current zone we've got right now. Starting to close here. Real estate starting to be occupied by RGR as they push into what could be one of the final fights of the game. We've got 2 downs already. RGR looking a little shaky though. It's a 2 versus 2, making a 2 versus 1. That is going to be RGR. They tried to take control of the building, and they ended up with their game being over.
I think they just knew that they wanted to put that fight in their hands, and they didn't want to put it into a dicey situation, because when this circle does close, the team from the high... Wait, I think he got it down right there. Oh my goodness, that was a beam from range with the Volt right there. They get the bubble down. I'm sure they're going to pop that res. Reses do happen faster in the Gibby bubble, so... Definitely probably going to get that recovery, but still it's going to force them to use a lot of resources that they're probably running low on anyway.
Set up for range, and the brawl is Sadie with a great kit to be holding down this high ground with that G7 scout. Has plenty of ammo to end this game too. This is a team that is probably close to leading the lobby in KP. They've gotten into a couple of fights so far, using the heartbeat, making sure no one's home as they knock on the door. And literally vibing, forced to rotate here any second. Which way are they going to go, left, right, or straight down the pipe? They're starting to ping every building in sight. And it looks like they're just going to be ending right in the middle here, trying to assert some serious dominance. There's got to be combat bound for this one. Jaren throws down the bubble. They go in, and they shut the door uncontested for now.
Yeah, just trying to shoot around this bubble. They're going to see this push come in, but he's about to get caught out, it looks like. Fuzzy gets his own bubble now. Now he can stay in this position. Well played by his current Gibby.
NRT coming in now, trying to take down Sadie is Fuzzy, but he's going to have to back out. NRT has everyone cracked. Jaren and Sadie coming in with a couple of downs onto them. And at 1 HP lives Flamebot, but not for long, as it looks like Banshee comes around the outside. Literally vibing is leading this lobby by a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Team Vilo getting a little bit of a recovery offense. Going to go back down, though. Knight swinging right into this. The building that was taken, the truck, so to speak, that was taken. It's going to be hard to fight for now, yo.
Number 1 seed versus number 2, and we've got literally vibing, claiming the throne in game number 1. Everyone wall bouncing to celebrate, and they deserve it. That was a tough final fight. They knew what the rotation had to be early. They took the ground they needed to in that building, and they did not let go of it. That was phenomenal play. We saw it, and that's the number 1 seed with 2 squads left going up against Team Viral, the number 2 seed. So that is as good as you're going to get for literally vibing. The games could not get any more difficult. Neely, what a great first game we saw from that rotation through the tunnel, coming in and asserting dominance to just the final fight where literally vibing threw it all against the wall to get inside that mobile truck.
Yeah, no, I mean that was a really good play. I'm surprised nobody made that play sooner. But the problem is we both played in those trucks. When you get into a truck like that, it's there's windows everywhere, there's doors that are
Yeah.
going to get blown off. It becomes a nightmare for you very quick. So even though it looks like they got the best position, everybody starts converging on you and they fought them all off. Not with ease, but they were able to fight them off pretty well. I'm sure they got some help from people around them and they aggressively took that last fight against Team Viral. Honestly, since, we've never done it with this full production team, I've lost track of how many teams were left. I thought there was still 3 teams wrapping around that truck for a second. I was like, "Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
We're done." So it's weird because when we do it, we're watching the map. We're so much more dialed into that kind of stuff. So I kind of missed the
The end
mark
game was
on the
quick.
end.
I mean, it went from 7 to 4 to
Yeah.
2 and seriously no time at all. But chat, that was as exciting as a competition level you could really hope for. But we're going to be back with 3 more maps after this, believe it or not. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back after this break. All right, and welcome back. We're going to have map 2 way in just a few, but we've got a lot to talk about for game number 1. Team Viral was that team that came through the tunnel on that insanely smart rotation using the Octane jump pad to go outside of the map and come back in, and they found themselves with some KP on the board and a strong position among like an area of the map with 4 other squads. So that was probably the craziest part of the game right up until the end game. And on the scoreboard,
Yeah.
you can see how it reflected their play. They came in second. They're right there in second place, 17 points behind Literally Vibing, who really didn't pull away with the KP. And really, I think you were onto something when you were talking about respect. And I don't think we're going to see it turned down too much, at least in game number 1. But NRT Gaming, they had a phenomenal game number 1, and they're all the way down at 14 as far as the seeding goes. So they were off to exactly the start they were hoping for, into the top 3 with 14 points behind them with 9 as ranked as harder. Haley, talk a little bit more about some of these other teams finding themselves on different spots of this leaderboard and what you saw in that first game.
Well, I already see SBZ and RGR way lower than they would have been expected. Each getting, couple placement points. RGR with no kills. SBZ no kill. The kills really do boost you into where you kind of need to be. You really, really have to get those kills. And, the thing that I always say is that doesn't start meaning, oh, you have to push more kills. And that's why some of these teams that go out early, you go, well, maybe they should have just, tried to ape a team. And it's like, maybe they did, and it just didn't work out, right? But the big problem is that if you don't place high and get a good position, you don't get kills. Because when you do start placing high, it means you've been playing good positions, and kills will just come to you at a certain point. If you go, hey, we're going to play slow, we got the circle right away, we're going to hold here, teams are going to start coming in, maybe you get pushed out and die. That's just the risk that you're going to have to play. But if you win a game, you're going to come out with 10 kills.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're going to run into 3 squads at the bare minimum to win a game. Even if you're third partying that final squad, you're probably going to have about 10 KP up on the board for yourselves. But coming in at, who was it? 8? Raging Nuts kind of died in that building. And I think we saw, who was it that pushed inside the building, trying to take space as one of those final zones was closing, and they ended up getting wiped for their aggression.
I'm trying to remember who that was.
Could it have been Buff Pathfinder?
I think they just got wiped.
Pathfinder.
They might have pushed in. I think it was one of those just 3-letter teams. It's hard to remember. It's so hard. There's, it's 20 teams. It's kind of tough to always keep on the head. But
I was trying to make that point to yours of sometimes you go for the ape on a team that is just sitting right below you or whatever, and you end up paying for it. And that was a perfect example of that. But we did see a lot of perfect examples of smart rotation, like you were harping on so much at the start. That is key in these top ranks. And that last rotation from Literally Vibing won them the game to get to that truck first.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anybody could have made that decision. They were the ones that made the decision. They risked the resources to get there. I believe they used a Gibby bubble just to get there. And then that went away. And when they got pushed, they just held those corners. They really just kind of, buckled down, so to speak, and then they were able to win it. I mean, they could have easily pushed that, just gotten shot by another team and killed, but they made the play, they made the call. And I know in those columns, I mean, someone's saying we have to go now, and they just have to all go together, because if they don't, like one goes and someone, you can't get split up. Everybody's in unison with every single one of these teams, even if they went out 20th, even if they went out first, doesn't really matter. These teams are all clicking, they all have a shot caller, and somebody
Well,
make what's up.
I don't know about Chuck Norris.
Well, he
Hey,
gets he gets shot and downed.
keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. We'll spectate him early game, hopefully. We'll look at his mini map. We'll see how close those colorful arrows are, or if they're nowhere in sight. But you're right. Everyone on these teams, this is incredibly high ranked, high stakes. These teams want this more than you're ever going to want to win a comp game. So they're
Yeah.
really staying together, staying tightly grouped, staying collected, and operating all on the same page, except Chuck Norris. Early game. Chuck Norris is showing up with some big kills and some big moments, but early game, I think he goes a little crazy on his loot runs.
Yeah. It happens. Sometimes you just get caught out. Sometimes you get on a bad rhythm. And the last thing you want is to get in your own head. I mean, that's a big thing. I would say consistency is key, but how do you get consistency and how do you maintain it? Momentum. If you start losing that momentum and you feel like you got to start reinventing the wheel, you're like, maybe we have to play differently. And if you're at this point, you're starting to decide, oh, we have to play differently, you're going to be in trouble here, Yelk. So hopefully most of these teams aren't suffering through that crisis and they're confident in their plan. I feel like most teams are going to be semi-confident in their plan, but as of right now, literally vibing, basically doing exactly what we would have expected, which is coming out and performing. I said top 5. I mean, they'll take top 1 with 10 kills any day of the week.
Team Viral right there, the 2 seed. They didn't get there by just getting a ton of KP in a couple of games here and there. They got there by, like you said, being consistent. That's why they showed up on the doorstep of that truck, facing down with literally vibing for that number 1 spot. And literally vibing, I mean, that is how you defend your throne. You swap. Team Viral did get in a skirmish in that final zone. That's why they had their armor cracked already going up to that truck. But they gambled that literally vibing was in the same situation after swatting away, who was it? NEL? I believe it was NEL or NRT.
We'll learn the teams.
NRT. No, it was NRT. There's just two that are, there are 3 letters they start with them, but it was NRT Gaming that they swatted away by the truck. But yeah, you saw 4 fights happening just like that.
Yeah, and great spectating here. Obviously, the best that we've had. Of course, it's obviously a bit of a learning curve for even us, but we've been really enjoying it because we just get to sit here and spectate basically just like you guys, but we get to get real excited about it. So
yeah. And we know that if it was us spectating, we wouldn't catch all the insane stuff they're catching, getting those multiple angles you're seeing. I mean, I can't wait to just watch this back and look at some of that third person perspective where, who was it, that Caustic team with Patty, as they were getting back down, that third person camera was right in the windows there and we could see the aggression coming through and then we could see it just not pay out in 2 great perspectives. So that was really quite something to see for the first time. Apex in 2 perspectives. Who would have thought?
Yeah. And honestly, if we were spectating, Burke, you know what would happen? We would be loading packets for the game. So we wouldn't even be in.
Or the hurricane above us right now would just be shutting the whole thing down after game 1. So props to this team. We really need you here.
Absolutely. And hopefully we'll be getting right to the game soon. I know some of these teams kind of got to load in. They got to, get the new code, figure it out, start up the match. We'll get right along to it, of course. But as of right now, things are kind of just going as expected here, Yelk. I mean, any teams that are going to hopefully pop up and make a change, I would say Raging Nuts and Buff Pathfinder, those are your 2, I feel like those are those, high skill. They have trouble maybe breaking top 5 all the time, but if they do, they have the potential to just clean up kills. They also have creative comps, and maybe that's why we key into them a little bit. They play those high skill heroes and they're high skill players, so you kind of hope that the Pathfinder team. Yeah, I guess they're both Pathfinder teams. Who doesn't like a Pathfinder team? But you kind of want to see them maybe make top 5.
I'll say it all day long. Final zone. I want a Gibby team.
You really need it. You need
Don't trade the Gibby for the Pathy. Trade the Octane for the Pathy. You'll just the sky won't rain down on you.
Yeah. And again, it's hard to make that call because Zipline is so bad. If you try to do what you do with Jump Pad, you try to do the same thing with Zipline, you're gonna get
peppered.
annihilated.
They're not gonna miss you, not in these lobbies.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is honestly even in these lobbies with pad, I guarantee they're getting shot quite a bit. I'm sure in Predator you get shot a lot when you try to do an Octane jump pad because I've been playing with my buddy Miles, and he's a PC player. I'm a console player, so when we play against a lot of PC players. And I've noticed that when I play Octane, I get shot in the sky a lot. And again, I'm not saying that PC is necessarily better. I'm just saying they generally have better aim. So on console in Predator, I guarantee you're getting lasered at all chances.
There's the boys, the champion squad, literally vibing, getting their banners flashed at the start of this game, letting the lobby know that, oh, by the way, we're not just the #1 seed. We took that first one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you saw those banners, yo, what would you want to do? Back out? I would.
If it was a pub, back out. If it was a ranked game, I'd probably just drop fragment and get it over with.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean you don't want to see it. You don't want to see any of these guys in a pub or a ranked game. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. So, anyway, we're getting into this one. We're seeing some teams drop. Do we know who drops sorting or I'm sorry, Lava Siphon? I don't know why. That's always the one that we're most interested in for some reason. We love that Lava Siphon / sorting area because it's not quite fragment. It's not the middle of the map, but it's towards the center, and it always seems to have such good loot, especially with these new gondolas that you see. There's always, I mean, look, I'm staring down some purple armor right in front of me, but I believe these gondolas usually have blue to purple armor just sitting in them. I'm seeing all kinds of armor around for these guys. So,
I mean, already kitted up, literally vibing. They dropped exactly where you were talking about, right in the middle, and they're going to be rewarded so well for it. Another armor in that gondola for Sadie, but I think they did run by that.
Oh, a gold! Oh, they just let a gold go right by Jaren right there. Grab this up, boys. Sorry,
They'll get it. They'll get it. They're
I know.
thirsty. No, nothing's even happening. I don't even hear footsteps, Neil. You're just like, Jared, turn around.
Get the loot, my guy. Give him the loot. But I like this combo he's running. I saw somebody else doing this, but he's got the R99 G7 Scout. It's all light ammo, which I always get a little worried about running, but I mean, it's a great little combo. It's one that I would prefer to run. I'm just always afraid I'm going to run out of ammo because these guys are good at killing people, so they get to loot them. Sometimes I don't kill the people, so...
Yeah, so you just spend 340 shots and you're out.
Yeah. Exactly, which I do so fast. Way too fast. But
Easy looks like they're squared up against someone. Maybe the Sears got somebody on the heartbeat. A nade does fly in. Downs are going on in the kill feed as NRT. Looks like they pick up too, but right now we're just locked in on SPZers. They're starting to push forward. They've got the Octane jump pad. I don't think this is going to be a team that plays scared in game number 2.
No, I don't think so. This was one of our higher rated teams, either 4 or 5. I believe I have 5 in my head.
Yep.
Yeah, 5 seed. So no slouch. They've done good in these lobbies before. We're gonna have to see if they can do good again. They don't have a good armor situation, and we don't know the armor situation of the team they're going up against. So, you know, and neither do they. That's the problem. Unless they've shot them or poked them around a bit, they don't really know what they're dealing with. 2 Seer ults so fast, yo. This game just started. 2 ultimates.
Now they know the armor situation.
Yeah.
Those Seer scans hit, and we got to see SPZ as they come in. Throwing the bubble down is Potato, and they're pushing off. It looks like IRDC comes in with a ton of damage. Doesn't quite get the crack there as the team rotates around the right side. Not quite pushing through the doors yet, but they've certainly broken down. Tower, though, going to be falling first to that caustic gas. Got to be cautious.
But they find one. Potato's going to get a counter knock. So now they're 2v2 right now. Now it's a 1v2, I believe. Can they clean it up? No. They're going to go down. They're going to get wiped up by the cop.
Who was that? Was that literally vibing?
No, that was a caustic team.
That was a caustic team? I didn't see Banshee pick up that kill in the feed. Who was that that got that kill?
I don't actually know who got that kill. All I know is they were playing into a caustic right there, which is why Tower got wrecked right there. It's because he got slowed and then he got beamed. And that's why it's so hard to push into a caustic.
So tough. It looks like he had the escape at 1 HP, and then I totally forgot he was going to bleed out to that gas. Doesn't it slow you down a little bit now, or is that a mistake?
No, it's always slowed you down. What it does now is it's the cooldown on it's been reduced from 25 to 20 seconds, so you should have more gas cans. Look at some beams right here, yo. Always Neo over there.
Wow,
just
right
wrapping
over
around
the head.
and
Doesn't
bouncing
miss
off.
that one on the Vraxi, though. Hitting all those shots when it mattered. They get the crack, the Gibby off. The bubble rather coming up. They're gonna get this res in the nick of time, but pushing up against the bubble is bursting. He's gonna burst down Orvash, and this is gonna be one member remaining, gunned down from the high ground. And this is Buff Pathfinder just taking what's theirs.
Absolutely. Oh, and look, Buff Pathfinder swapping it up. They don't have the Pathy. They're on to the Gibby. They kind of, they took some caster
They're just
notes.
making their virtue statement game number one, having the Pathy in the comp, letting them know that, hey, if we get this legend, we don't quite win. Put on a Gibby, watch them win 3 straight and make their case.
Yeah, I mean, if they do that, that'll be rather impressive. They have a good chance, though. As I've said, this is one of those high skill, I don't know, they just seem very high skill per player. So when they start doing, I mean, he missed some shots there, Yelk, but he started beaming out of his mind after he missed a couple. Also, all the teams are right there. Raging Nuts on the defensive right now. Pathy is going to be down. Twitch trying to run away here. I probably should call him Chronic because everyone's got the Twitch in their gamer tag, but read the first thing you see sometimes.
Raging Nuts is just on the run right now. Looks like the team that was shooting them in the back is now getting shot in the backs themselves. KRKD Esports, one stuck in this little bit of a pincer, but they've got a high ground and some buildings to work with, so it seems like they could actually garner some respect and avoid a fight here if they're careful and choose their positioning widely. Looks like the fight is already pushed off. We're already down, though, nearly to 13 squads, so a much faster-paced game. That could be due to the pull. That could be due to teams not ending the first game where they wanted to and really starting to push much more aggressively. Now, as we've got more downs in the feed, it looks like Raging Nuts might have actually just gone down.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to go out right there. Not quite entirely sure, but we saw Chronic go down in the feed, and he was probably the last alive because he had the best escape, so to see him go down is always tough. Havoc going to find it down onto the Dynamic as well. Hokage hitting some beams. This gun is fantastic for that long range, consistent, heavy damage. So you just got to, run in there with a Rampage.
He's got the Thermites, too, to charge it up if he needs to. How key is that with this gun? Just the ability to just charge up an LMG. He's starting to shake up the meta. Do you pick this or the L-Star, or do you grab the Spitfire out of the grade? Personally, my favorite's the L-Star. Kage under a bit of fire right now, running back to these buildings. But this is where the Rampage can kind of shine, though, is they were in a mid-range fight right there. Okage can play the exact same way with that gun, even though he's backed up about 100 feet.
Yeah, and if you saw that Octane jump pad, that was actually Chronic finally going out, getting cut out of the sky by everybody staring at him. And I think there was probably 2 to 3 teams taking a peek at him, because I think we have about 3 to 4 teams in this little area right outside of Thermal Station. Pretty interesting place to fight. I don't get many fights right here, but it's a lot of good geometry out in the open, rocks, just like hills and stuff. I love playing around stuff like this if I get the opportunity rather than building. Running in, hitting the beams. He's not even going to see him coming there, Yelk. Hokage going to take down Wraith too thick swiftly. Doesn't even need to charge it up. I do wonder if it's even necessary to charge the gun up sometimes, because most of the time you're taking long-range pokes. Wait, he did have it revved. I'm smart. I apologize.
Nah, you couldn't see it when it was shield cell. Maybe that's an observing glitch or what. But yeah, you couldn't see he had it revved up. I was with you all the way there. I don't know why.
I was going to say, because
it looked like he was melting him with that Rampage.
Because for
now
what he did,
charge rifle. Ooh. Viral.
Because for what he did, that's when you want to use the rev up. When you go in and want to use it kind of like an SMG almost, that's when it's good. But when you're at range, you have no need to really rev it up too much. Unless these pro players basically prove me wrong, which is super possible.
Amigos, let's go here.
A lot of squads now around the outside of what is going to be one of our final zones. I do believe it's going to be zone 2, but still, we're down to 11. It usually does not go this fast in these lobbies. It's already a little bit surprising. ATZ Quicks rotating around the outside of the map with the Octane. We've seen it pay off for Team Viral just in the last game, playing this part safe and coming into hopefully the position that matters the most at the key time, but some shots getting traded back on now with Team Viral as they have claimed some real estate inside the zone, and they could be here for quite some time.
Look at this armor they have. I feel like I've been noticing that teams have different ideas how they want to place their armor, right? Some people put low armor on Gibby because he's got the most damage. Oh, this L-Star hip fire Can he win the duel? Gonna pull out the G7 and do absolutely that. Little cleanup we're gonna catch the end of from Buff Pathfinder. They are the kill leaders here too. Bursty with 4 right now. Yeah, they're racking them up right now. Buff Pathfinder is bloodthirsty early, and I'm curious how many of these squads they've actually claimed here, yo.
We must go here.
I believe that's their second one so far.
Probably.
Third at most. I think it was 2.
Maybe they just got like a third. Like if they have any extra KP, it was probably a third-party shot or something weird, you know. But yeah, looking at the math right there, we're counting 6. 2 kills, 4 assists, assuming he gets on and in on everything that the team was doing. So
Last game, Buff Pathfinder only had 4 kills the whole time. They finished 6, so they've already got as many total points as they did in game number 1. So this should be moving them up as long as everyone who is above them, at least 5 through 1, doesn't have the same kind of game. Buff Pathfinder should be picking up some points on the leaderboard here. And if they win, they could be obviously picking up a ton, but right now they've already set themselves up in a great spot. Looking at the map, we can see this southern pole. Looks like Literally Vibing is set up inside it, going to be chilling for quite some time. Team Viral on the outside, poking in what is now a bubble fight. Not quite sure they're fighting, but they're definitely pushing the aggression here. It actually could be Literally Vibing on the outside of this, but I'm not sure. Team Viral still just poking away. Bubble fights, stuns, everything's getting traded out here, and the sky is beginning to fall.
Fence is going to take him out. Team Viral just trying to hang on. Doesn't get the shot he's looking for. Gets the return, though. And now they're just going to be falling down. Seems like they're going to be at the will of the team they're facing. And Team Viral possibly going out 10 here, Yelk. And it looks likely Slinky TV going to be the ones to take him out. But they're going to get cut down immediately.
Wow. And who is that? But it looks like Buff Pathfinder coming in with a perfectly timed third party. And this is looking huge for everyone else in the lobby. They know the number 2 team just found their way out. So there is so much on the leaderboard up for grabs.
Yeah, that's looking like a scary team. And Literally Vibing, not that they're doing anything wrong. They, again, have a fantastic position down here in Thermal Station. But one thing I know about this spot, Yelk, I have had like 15 circles end here for some reason in my ranked games and in my pub games. The circle does not close up here because if it closed here, there would be a circle situation where their team would be down below and above and it would turn into a heal war. So that's not going to happen. Oh, boy. That
unlucky.
Is unfortunate. If that actually closed the whole lobby, we're just going to hit continue here and see. Maybe it just throws our spectators back in. Ooh, it does. Thank you.
Love when a plan comes together. That was just like Coach drew it up. A little bit of drama for you in the Twitch chat and definitely us in the booth.
Oh, man.
We were all shaking in our boots. Meanwhile, everyone else in this game is just cool and collected in the midst of a couple firefights. Glad to be back in it, though, and Literally Vibing. Glad to be standing where they are on this high ground. Neil, you were talking about how the zones don't quite usually close on here. In terms of jumping early or jumping late into that final zone, what do you prefer?
You know, I'm no expert. I always prefer a slightly early rotation, but I see the issues that can have. Oh, man, I love Jaren with this Pathfinder. With this G7 Scout, just hitting the crack, hitting shots. Very accurate, even though he's only got the 1 to 2, but again, I don't know what teams prefer. Sometimes you want to rotate with the circle so that you don't get caught in rotation. See how these teams are rotating and they're getting all these free shots. Now they're missing because they're hard shots to make, but you don't have
rotating
to
on
shots.
An Octane pad a mile away. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're hard shots to hit, to say the least.
They're a bit tricky. Trickier trick shot. But thank goodness that didn't close. My heart's still racing a bit from that. I was like, oh my god, did we just lose all that? Did Buff Pathfinder just not get any cred for all that swag that they put on this battlefield? Because they truly are running this lobby right now. Literally Vibing, looks like they have at least 1 kill right now, but overall, not really marking up the KP, but that thing that I've always said, consistency always outrides a team that kind of just apes and wins. Not always, I guess, but pretty much always overrides, because if you survive like Literally Vibing is and they get into another good position, they will get killed. They will get them, and then they get the placement points, and it's just the perfect combo of what you're looking for.
And we can see some teams with some long-range poking into the sides of Literally Vibing. That is going to get their resources a little bit lower, but this is not going to be a team that plays scared. They're still going to be getting their damage up on this high ground, and what they're really doing from up here is just taking note of what teams are going where. Where's their next rotation going to be based on who's around them, where have they seen them travel to, what building are we going to take because of that? Is there a fight in front of us that we feel like we could win easily?
Toasted.
Could be this
They need
one.
to finish that.
ARKD, Hokage does go down.
Oh, oh no, that was Banshee. Yeah. Okay, I got confused. I saw Banshee. I thought he went down for a second. I was about to be like, wait a sec. Woo! That's the one shooting him. But I love the focus fire right there. They need to get that KP when they get the down, so they all focus that white shield. Luckily, he did for them. He didn't have a purple. Rotating once again here, but they get this circle pulled so they can at least see, you know, everything that's going to be happening and see where the circle goes. I have a feeling that right behind them, it's going to pull to that little high ground across the ravine, and they're going to have to make a dastardly push. More kills for them. Again, the positioning that I've talked about being so key. And this is a cluster right here, Yelk. And, whoo, boy, this is going to get crazy.
Yeah, Buff Pathfinder, they want a piece of this real estate, and it's not going to be given up easy, but this crack comes through so fast. NRT Gaming already on the back foot inside this building. They're going to be pushed hard. Buff Pathfinder not even missing a shred of shields, going in with the shotgun, busting the door down. Finding kills number 2. Can they find number 3 right above them?
Yeah, it's going to be a Caustic hanging out. Can he finish it? Dre just going for that last kill on for the KP. Was that a red shield on him, and that's why that stayed alive? It might have been. So I think they've already finished off everybody. Pressure Alpha, as you said before, it's pretty easy to say, but it's looking like they're under some pressure. The Caustic Gas is going. I like the Caustic. I've been playing him recently in my games just to try to gain that consistency that I talk about. Great little ult to try to help them push out. They hit it. At least one with it, it looks like, but the dome is going to come out so that they can escape. And it looks like Pressure Alpha has no way.
Cancels the bat. Sorry to cut you off. He doesn't even move. His head's in his hands, and MXH just come up with that squad wipe.
Absolutely. No, you cut me off right when I wanted you to, because I was just about to say there is no way that they're getting out of this building. They're just kind of gripping onto it as long as they can. They still have the circle here on Literally Vibing, but you see that high ground that it's in, that little cubby thingy on the minimap. You have to look at the minimap. That rectangle, basically directly adjacent to them.
Lava fissure.
That's where it's going to end. It's either there or that big part below. I have a feeling it's not going to be on their side. That's where I've seen it close the most, is on that half of the map.
MXH looking pretty good in this one. They ended 9th in our previous game. And we actually did see NRT go out right there. So that is Team Viral and NRT, 2 of our top 3 teams from last game, already out. Literally Vibing, the only remaining top 3 teams. So again, to your point of consistency that is going to be so important throughout the night, Literally Vibing is the most consistent so far.
Oh, I love this spot. We've seen so many people rat down here, dude, and this is a rat special. It's infested right now. And he's gonna get knocked right there. Banshee finds the shot, but going for the quick recovery. Hopefully the team under doesn't notice that he went down. It doesn't look like they're gonna key into that, and they're not gonna push. Luckily for Shrills.
Actually lost a member. They're in the fight right now. Jaren takes down that downed member. So Literally Vibing has found a number of kills from that high ground, and MXH is their latest victim. Looks like Bursty is able to finish off that second MXH member, and they're down to their final. But Buff Pathfinder is trying to just ego across this high ground that Literally Vibing on. And really, we are set up for one hell of a finish, likely between these two teams.
Yeah, there was 2 spots I could have picked for this to end. Right where Buff Pathfinder is, right above them on the triangle, and where that circle ended, and that's where it goes. Right in Literally Vibing's favor, yo. They get to drop down right into a circle, and they basically get the best opportunity to play this how they want. Still won't end in their tower, just like I said, but it still ended on their landmass, which is so important for Literally Vibing. 8 kills, by the way, for Bursty. Let's not notice that. 2K on the board as well.
Gotta be safe going for this final kill onto the last member of MXH. They've got to also be careful. Literally Vibing, don't get that down, and they do.
They have bubble though.
Could get the wipe onto that member of MXH going around the right side. It could happen. Jaren picking up a little bit more KP with that down, but Looks like, yeah, like you said, dropping right into this final zone. They're just in the driver's seat of this game like they've been here before so many times on this side of the map. And this is all theirs for the taking. Going in with that Octane rotation right now, taking this building, make the rotation extremely difficult for Buff Pathy.
Yeah. And they're going to put him right out of there. Look, they're going to drop the Gibby ult right on that high ground. They know that they're in trouble if they stay here, but they got the Gibby bolt to keep them up. And it looks like they get a knock right onto Dre, which means... who is it? Team Viral? No, Buff Pathfinder's going to lose one of their teammates early to the longbow.
It's so tough. Literally Vibing, they don't have too many pokes. They are on a low ground compared to Buff Pathfinder, so the angle is currently in favor of Buff Pathfinder. But like we've said, we could see this zone closing and giving Literally Vibing the advantage throughout this one. There is still a third-party rat out there. MXH is not out of this one yet. They could be coming around the outside, the third party, this at any moment. So keep an eye on that third sneaky team that's still in this game as Buff Pathfinder make their final move around the outside of the zone.
Buff Pathfinder wants this. They've been hitting shots like nobody's business, but they've just got a crazy rotation here, yo. I mean, if they pull this off, it's going to be...
They shouldn't be able to pull it off. No Gibby either. This is going to be extremely difficult.
Bursty's alive, though.
He's got a hot hand.
He's got a hot hand. It's warm, it's hot, it's on the pan, it's off the pan, but he's
lasering.
Sizzling. Yeah. Oh, Percy's really sizzling right now. He's hurt, putting a bat on. That nade is in a good spot. Those cluster of nades are in a good spot. And Bursty's going to go down. 2 squads left. Shrill's going to be going out and Literally Vibing, making that 2-0 on the entire lobby.
What a show this team is putting on. They couldn't have gotten a better zone to favor them, to just put them in a position to be the most dangerous squad they could possibly be in that end game. And once again, they did not disappoint, taking that one themselves as well. We've still got 2 games left in this top 20 qualifier for the grand final, but Neely, do you have any final thoughts on game number 2 before we go forward?
I mean, how many thoughts can I have? Because, I mean, the only thoughts in my head right now are Literally Vibing. No, I got a couple more thoughts. I mean, Literally Vibing is, I mean, again, doing what we said. You can't get more consistent than first place every single time. So, Literally Vibing's just dominating. They got the circle pull, though. The first game, they had to work for that one. That was a hard-working W, I would say. They were able to get the position, but they had to go take it. On this one, they had the circle pull all the way for so long once they took that high ground. And that high ground's nasty. I've seen so many teams have a Kraber up there. It's a nightmare to try to deal with that. So they were just up there with G7s, just beaming everybody down. But Buff Pathfinder making a real push here, Yelk, to try to kind of separate themselves from the group, maybe put themselves in second. I believe Team Viral might have gone out a bit early.
They should end up being in second after that performance. They really should. Kill Leader had 9 at the end of that one, and I know the rest of the squad probably got him up to, I think, 11 or 12 KP. They should definitely be firmly in second place above Team Viral now.
Assuming their Gibby got any kills, if Gibby got any kills on that squad, they had at least 13. So, because I know the Seer, it's hard to remember the names after the fact, but I know the Seer had Shrills and Dre. Those were the 2. But Shrills on the Seer had at least 3, and I didn't get to see what Dre had.
All right, well, that is map number 2 in the books. We're going to be going to a short break, so don't go anywhere. Map number 3 coming your way in 5 minutes.
And we're back with some CGL Summer Series North American event here. It's been pretty exciting so far here, Yelk. Literally Vibing off to a hot start. Not probably going to be able to get beat here anytime soon. We're going to get hopefully a peek at the leaderboards very quickly. Yelk, what are you expecting to see once we get to see those?
Listen, I'm expecting to see Buff Pathfinder with a huge smile on their face. Again, the stakes for this game are the top 20 from this group, Group A and Group B, are going to move on to the grand final. So teams don't have to just win outright like Literally Vibing is doing. They've just got to make sure they get enough points up on the board to qualify. And teams like Buff Pathfinder that had a chance of finding themselves on a bubble, they came down in about that 10th spot for qualifiers. They're finding themselves all the way up in second with 31 points. What a show they put on in that last map.
And that's what's crazy about that, Yelk. They haven't won yet. They didn't win a game.
Right. That's a lot. That's so many points. Oh,
but they are right. I mean, That's still a pretty big lead, right? 12-point lead for literally vibing, pretty big. But that's 12 points. That's how much you get for winning a game. So literally vibing is only in first right now because they've been winning. Now, again, that is the point of the game. At the end of the day, you need to win, right? But
Absolutely.
I mean, ooh, that's pretty close. NRT Gaming, I feel like we haven't really gotten a decent look at them too much, but 10 kill points, 10 placement points, 20 points. That's just consistent right there. I mean, they're in third. It's a good little spot to be in, honestly, at this point. Team Viral kind of taking a hit after that last game. They got second place in the first one. I don't know when they went out on this last one, but it was way too early for a team like Team Viral. And they can't go out that early if they want to compete with Literally Vibing, because Literally Vibing is just winning the game. So
Yeah, they'll run away with it pretty fast if you give them any slack on the leash. But other things I'm seeing is Buff Pathfinder, they only had 4 kill points and a total of 6 points after game number 1, where they placed 6. 4 kills, 6 total points. That is crazy to find themselves at 31 by gaining, what is it, 16 KP in that last
Yeah.
game with a second place finish. What an incredible showing they really did put on to just stick it to the rest of the lobby when the competition was heating up, when teams were starting to be more aggressive, like we mentioned earlier in that game, and they really started to come out on top of that part of the lobby that was competing so much for the kills. And then there's literally Vibing, who's chilling on the high ground for 15
Yeah.
minutes competing for the win.
competing for the win, but also getting those kills. That's the thing. It's not just like, oh, they're just playing for the win. They're going to come out with 0 kills. They would get it down on any old squad and finish them. Anybody out of position, they were preying on and taking advantage of, just to kind of stack those numbers for the KP, and then they can just put that on top of their win points. Of course, they don't think they're going to go in and win every game. Maybe they do. Maybe they got big egos. I think everybody here kind of does. And if you're winning, your ego is as high as it can be. It's
Gotta be huge,
blowing up
especially
the
if you
top.
came in place number 1.
Yeah. Came in place number 1, showing up, doing it. It's not like, oh, you're number 1. You're top 5 right now.
Yeah.
That's like normally what I'd say you'd expect from a top team, is any given day you can perform differently. And literally vibing outrageously consistent. I mean, we've seen them win so many games. So and I
Yeah,
feel
they
like the
kind of have like that. They got like that Jordan factor where we do see teams like Buff Pathfinder come in with an insanely hot game, 16 KP, and they're just the alpha of the lobby in that lobby. And then literally vibing with that Jordan factor, just having that alpha factor where it doesn't matter how many points you get, you can still come in second if literally vibing is there and they're handed a circle, because they were handed that last game. You mentioned it before the break that they had to work for game number 1. They were spoon fed game number 2 as long as they were careful.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing too. I was talking about how a team like, say, Raging Nuts and Buff Pathfinder might have those high skill players, but they run a flimsy comp that gets them, kind of
Doesn't
bit
have
in
a
the butt.
pillar. Yeah.
Yeah, which, Buff Pathfinder added and immediately
Yeah.
started just
It's so crazy how we even mentioned that too. They were just like, they made their case. Game number 1. Got the Pantheon. He's our favorite. Not going to do that well. 6th place. They come in. They throw the Gibby on for the Pathy slot. 2nd place. Lobby kill leaders. Absolutely insane.
All right. Well, I think we're going to be getting to this game rather soon. Did I hear 6 games somewhere? Is that how many we're
Somewhere.
doing? Somewhere.
Something was six
All right.
games in total tonight. Oh boy, we're in for a long haul.
All right.
Neely, we're going to be busy. I hope you're locked into that hot, sweaty room you're in, because it is humid outside. Turn the fans on during the intermission. We're going to need them.
Yeah, we did just open some windows, turn the fans on, made sure all the air was flowing. Told my girlfriend that we had done 2 games and there was 2 left, so gonna have to break the news that there's 2 more.
Just
But
told that. Yeah.
I'm having-
the folks. And
Yeah. it's okay.
they gotta wake up pretty early tomorrow. I'm not going to lie. They're not going to be too pleased, but I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
If the games go like that, I'm going to be pretty happy.
No, it's been going very, very good. I mean, literally vibing. I'm having fun watching them win. I'm having fun watching another team kind of break into the break the mold here, because somebody else
Yeah,
has
I'm
got to
looking
win.
for NRT or Buff Pathfinder, Team Viral, even like a team like Pressure Alpha or Raging Nuts who could have gotten the short end of the stick a couple of times in these games. I'm looking for someone to break in and get a win on the board because a lot of teams have threatened it in qualifiers. A lot of teams have found wins. It just hasn't been all consistent all the time. With the literally vibing, even though they are a number one seed, they can be toppled. We've seen it. Another team could be coming in really any game now.
Yeah, I mean, Buff Pathfinder's on a war path right now, and all it's going to take is literally vibing getting pinched in a tough situation by literally anybody in this lobby, and they could just go out, and if they go out, so much space is going to get opened
I
up,
make it look easy, but I'm still the champ.
and they're back.
And yeah, 2 games in a row. In case you forgot what our banners looked like, here you go.
And we're going to be riding with them for this first little plane drop. I think that's fair enough. We know now. They go Lava Siphon, correct? That wasn't Team Viral, was it? That was literally vibing.
Yeah, that was them. Hit the scan. They all had blue or purple armor or gold right away. Yeah, those guys.
So good. It's just,
It's so good.
do we have a trials team? Does anybody go trials up in here?
It looks like
Trials?
we do.
You know, we don't have to keep on the trials, of course, but was dropping trials a bunch in one day, and I kept having the dog glitch into the spots where the loot is. Happened like 4 times. And then I had to shoot at the statue to get the dog to die, which took all our ammo, alerted everybody to come kill us, and took forever, so we got to rotate late. So we eventually said, no more trials. But it was such a bummer. So I'm curious if that's like an ongoing bug, or if I'm just the unluckiest person to this very rare bug happening to me multiple times. Because I would imagine if that's been happening to other people, nobody drops trials anymore. Because if you can't open that last one in a timely manner, you're at such a disadvantage of weapons because you get no guns in there. But that's my trials talk for the day.
Listen, that's my favorite spot to just see a team be like, this is going to be our strategy all tournament long. We're going trials. NRT, though, with a great spot. You open this up down bottom. You do get to just collect all the good armor, but somehow you got to make it out of there. It's literally vibing. They're planning for it. This is not usually where we find them, but they've got the charge rifle. Get it up, starting to do some damage is Jaren. They've already gotten this bubble out of NRT.
Yeah, there's a good little doozy going on here. And he's going to have to try to rotate out. I don't think there's any way he makes it. I thought he got cut down, but it's kind of hard to tell. I didn't see anything in the feed. There it is. Jarens takes Flamespot right down. I believe that was the Gibby. And now he's not going to be able to stay alive. It's really tough. This stage and drop is so tough.
There you can see the finish coming through. Sadie over the top with the headshots out of the flat line. This team pretty low on ammo. Not sure if they can chase these kills, even though they've got a huge advantage over this squad. But this does make this area of the map a lot safer. They can pretty much just claim all of the loot in it that wasn't already picked up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good loot location. A lot of these big points of interests are great loot locations.
Ultimate accelerant here.
A lot of charge rifles. Nobody likes to go with anything else. Charge rifles, super consistent. If your aim is really good, don't worry have to worry about leading your shots. You just use that hit scan weapon. Hit scan means the bullet goes there immediately. No time to travel, and it's one of the few guns that actually does that in this game.
It scans awfully nice, especially when it's just been missing for so long in your hands. You pick up a charge rifle and just have no problem doing damage across the map. Seeing a scan come in right now. They read the purple armor. Maybe that saves them from being aggressed. If that scan is great. Oh my god, what are those shots? With a flat line. Jaren stepping into some damage too. This team is poised to be as dangerous as they possibly can. Pushing in now to this building, trying to break down the door. And they're taking the handle and everything off with it as that kill is finished off. And NRT found themselves out of game number 3.
Yeah, and Burke, you said maybe they'll see that purple armor and back off, maybe save the push and aggression. Nope, they're just going to shoot a guy in the sky, pachow, little slingshot, and then just go right in with that same pad that they had just seen one guy use that got shot. So nobody can stop them, is what I'm going to say. Slinky, I forget who he's a part of. It says Team 10, so it's going to be tough to tell who this exactly is. If anyone in production knows, I would appreciate it. but as a noob
I
right now.
believe this is ranked as harder.
Is it ranked as hard? I haven't even said their
I
name
believe this is ranked as hard.
yet. Okay,
We're gonna go ahead and say that's who it is.
we'll say.
Two members of this team going on a rotation. One member stuck chatting up on that high ground, but it looks like they're gonna try and chase some of these kills. That is an R99 laser beam out of the cannon of Gazan, and they're gonna chase this down. They've gotten the crack already, making another crack. This gray armor is not gonna hold up very easily against Gazan's accuracy, coming in with the PK, getting that down.
Absolutely, and the PK great for finishing targets off. But I love this setup. I saw this in ALGS. I saw this in, you know, I forget what the Korean league was called. I watched more of that personally. Some of the EU, but so many players run a shotgun with an R99 and they use the R99 as if it's an R301. And it's one of the most impressive things to truly just watch. Just sit there and just be like, wow, I can barely do that with an R301, and the R3 is built to do that, let alone an R99.
Yeah, I was surprised to see some of those shots hit from so far out with the R99 right there. Definitely impressed with the accuracy from Gazan. I haven't seen him up on my screen shooting lasers like that before. Team Viral now, they're up on a high ground. They're another team that chooses to run this charge rifle. Neely, before we get into the action, while we're still in a calm before the storm, despite this team being inside a Seer Ultimate, talk a little bit about how the gun setups change from early game to end game. As we're seeing a lot of these teams that are on the top of the leaderboard, they've got a sniper or two in the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you might rotate, you mean like late game, you might rotate to just close range stuff.
Yeah, you might opt out of the G7, you might pick up an R99, something along those lines.
I mean, I feel like a lot of these teams really don't opt out of the G7 though, because it's got such good hip fire.
Vibing.
But maybe a
just gotta
charge. We
got to be in tune here, as this team looks like they're going to be getting in to a fight. Buff Pathfinder, they've got the kill leader of the lobby, but I think we are on our way back over to Literally Vibing, as they were starting to get into a bit of a skirmish. But we do see a nice little squad wipe happen there, and this fight is now underway. The Wraith Portal coming in right on the doorstep, and it looks like Banshee might be the last one alive for Literally Vibing. It looks like Slinky closing in now, the last member ranked as harder as well, and that is going to be Gazan bleeding out. Banshee stabbing the res. They should be able to get these off, but I do think Slinky is still at large pressure. Alpha coming in around the outside as well. The third party timed well.
We're only gonna have one guy left here, and I don't know if everybody survived from that, from Literally Vibing right there. They had a great knockdown shield block on that res to help get the Gibby up so the Gibby could then put the shield down. But I don't believe they were able to get all of their members back up. I think he might have focused it down, but it's kind of hard to tell. Raging Nuts in their own engagement, 2 Seer ults out, just playing the outside of one of them. And this is looking pretty scary for this Gibby. He's 1 HP. Dances it perfectly and hits a huge shot. Gonna get the knock, but gonna get knocked as well. Maybe gonna be able to help his team do something in this fight, or did they go right out? They went straight out. My apologies. I don't know.
Looks like Pressure Alpha only had 2 members up right there, maybe, as they were taken down by Raging. Raging does get all this loot, but it looks like they're pretty far from the zone, so they better have plenty of heals to get them through this run.
Plenty of heals, couple of heat shields. I got some boxes to build some of that up right now, Yoke. So there's one thing about these teams is they are not scared of this circle. They will just chill in the storm for a long
See that
time.
flash on our screen? Buff Pathfinder down to their final member.
No.
Believe he had the beacons in hand, but he's gonna have to run and get those reses off.
Oh, okay. Oh boy. I mean, if there's anything I know about teams that are good, is their recovery is so good. Look, right here, we're actually, I think, see Banshee. He's running for a res right now. Off, maybe in Skyhook, maybe in, what's it called? Countdowns. I always want to call all those staging. I don't know why, but it's countdown. So he might be getting a res off there. Good teams always recover their teammates. Not saying that, teams that aren't as strong won't recover them. It's just that they are not able to recover them. So quiet team right here, yo. Pepinito. One of the teams that we've seen always do consistent, but never really flat.
They placed 6 going into this Group A qualifier, and they've only got 1 kill up on the board in our first 2 games. And Looks like they've got a good setup to maybe clean some up here. They've gotten some cracks, make it 2, but unable to find any down.
Yeah, and they're playing that circle. They got around this tree early. They have a good building. The next circle is going to close. It's actually going to lock part of the building for them. So it's going to make this building even better for them to kind of hold, play the roof of, and then fall down into if required. Going to be getting Gibby ulted here is Evil. Another team he's struggling to get their footing in.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually have not even found a kill to this point. So very, very tough run they've had in our first 2 games. And right now they're locked in on a position in these train tracks that is not very key on what they're trying to accomplish. That scan is going to cancel that cell. So Ewok going to be a little shaky in his boots. Using this cover behind this post, this water cooler we're seeing on our screen, getting this bat up. Team Evil really not out of the woods yet. They've popped the Seer ult that is going to keep them at bay for a while, but once Seer's cooldowns are gone, that's when we do see the aggression turned up by these teams. Once they know those are out and they're not going to get stunned out of a bat or anything like that, that's when they start to go crazy.
Absolutely. And they are able to just run away there, which is really good. I think they're just waiting to maybe do some of the damage of their own, maybe trade a little, but enough to make the enemy team back off and they can kind of get some space. They're not going to be able to hit that balloon because they're afraid they're going to get beamed right out of the sky. Too many people are good with the G7. Raxi, ooh. Or is that Ray? I don't know. Raxi? Whatever. The Wraith.
I think it was Raxi. A
Yeah.
little blurry on our screens. Wraith too thick. Way off in the distance. I can read that.
Yeah. Ban TikTok, please. Maybe. Think about it.
Ooh, good view of the tree coming through this little
Yeah.
cliffway arch here as we start to
Ooh.
get into some action. That is a down already, and we're seeing a third party come in. Chuck Norris,
Chuck
in fact,
Norris.
the one on our screen,
Bing.
goes down in a flash, misses the roundhouse kick. Great, takes him out. Alejandro, the last one alive, and that is going to be it for them.
We got to see Chuck Norris kill some people, man, 'cause I know he does.
No, I feel bad now.
Nobody
that
can really
shot.
move this door unless you're on the outside. Could get kicked down, but they're just kind of playing it as they can. Widow Too Thick gonna go down though. Or Wraith Too Thick, my apologies.
This is Team Viral pushing up on RGR right now, trying to take them out of the game.
Is it a
Get some
2v2?
KP up on the board for them after that disappointing map number 2.
I think we have a 2v2 situation right now here, Yelk. Now it's going to be put into a 1v1. And Ban TikTok trying to get that armor swap. Not quite able to get it off. Going to lose all his shields. Basically taking way too long to get that armor swap. I'm not sure what happened there, but that's the problem with playing on controller. It's really hard to loot death boxes. It will get you killed. And it's unfortunate. I wish they'd change it to like with PUBG. You know, you can move around on console while you loot. Little fun fix would be nice for us.
It'd be nice to have, but unfortunately, we'll probably never get it.
No, unfortunate. But it's okay because the console gameplay is so good on Apex. Semi-comparable to PC. I don't think it's like COD where the aim assist is too strong. So it's a little bit, I'd say, this fight
Got
right
some
now.
action going on inside this bubble. 2
Evil.
down so far.
Evil making it happen right now. They're trying to find this last kill. It's a 2v1. So low. Raxi also low. He's going to have to Wraith out. And both those banners are going to... Well, both those players are going to get finished off and turned into banners, I guess. Oh, but...
I was literally vibing who came up right there and just started to wipe Evil the second they started to gain any ground in this game. Literally vibing is there to remind them that they are the prey.
But Raxi getting those 2 kills, though, because that circle started creeping up. And then, as you said, literally vibing comes in. I'm sure they just finished him right off for him. Which is nice. You know, he gets his kills. If he goes down before he gets those kills, he gets no credit for that. And maybe literally vibing gets more free kill credit for something they barely did, you know? So, Bursty on the supply bin, waiting. Grassy knoll.
Rat around. Do you go for those reses if you need 2 banners back, or is that just a flare gun to get way too much aggression on you?
I mean, yeah, it's a tough call because at this point, do you just go for placement, right? Just going for placement might be more valuable than, yeah, as you said, shooting the flare gun up because everybody's going to look at it.
Shooting
you
the
know?
kill me signal straight into the sky.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like seeing teams try to do it, but the best recoveries we truly get to see of these teams is when they go out of the circle to start, you know, making those recovery plays, because some teams don't want to go super far into the circle, waste a bunch of resources. But if you're only 2 guys and you need to get 1 back, you might as well get that player back. So, and honestly, he might not even have many places to go get it. Is he going to run into Team Viral and Rez right in front of him? I mean, although there is one on a different spot, but still, as you said, the kill me sign. No thanks. Team Viral just holding this building down. But so you said, so literally vibing is 1 right now. I haven't really seen him much since they've,
Yeah, I'd be interested to spectate them, see how their team is holding up in this current situation. We have a circle that could end up being very similar to the one we saw in our last game.
I know. What? See?
It's crazy how many circles close around that little fissure, but
I get so many of these. I mean, it's a good spot.
It is. No, it really is. I mean, it ends with a ravine right down the middle that just divides usually the last 2 squads, and you got to really work on that last fight. Come out on top if it's a 3v3, but a lot of the times we end up seeing a team hold that high ground and just chipping away the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, absolutely. KRKD hitting some nice shots. I love seeing this Rampage. Such a great gun. It doesn't feel too busted. It might be a little bit overpowered. I'm just curious. I haven't really got enough intel from, top players of what their opinion of it is. But it seems very, very strong. But again, there's still guns like the G7 that at bigger ranges might outpoke it. Arc Zero having a tough time. Gonna have to get this Phoenix off, but he is behind a little rock. That jump always scares me. What if they shot?
I'm surprised he jumped right there with that little health. I'm really surprised to see that.
I see so many good players do that to try to gain intel, and I don't get it. Makes no sense.
Maybe the last intel you ever get. There's your intel. They got red armor. They're in that door. They saw you jump.
Yeah.
Please don't do it again.
Please. But they're pinned down right in there, it seems like. But I mean, again, yeah, no,
someone along the back side. Banshee actually picked up a kill for literally vibing, so it's good to see them still getting in the mix.
Oh, he got Raxi. He finished off that squad. Evil would it be the one that just went out? Raxi was the last rat for them.
Hey, RKD still locked in here. Okage's gotten 2 bubbles off, so this is a very slow push. We're seeing it almost looks like they're just being herded into a very vulnerable part of the map where they could meet someone on both sides, and that is not what KRKD wants. At some point, you've got to stand your ground, even if the team you're facing down has that red armor. You can't just be getting pushed out of your Gibby bubbles until you're down to your last shield cell with bubble on cooldown.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, we'll snap to it.
That's on the Viral too. That actually looked like, was that a down? Was that a finish?
That was a down. It's a down. It's a down in the kill feed. So he's just downed right now, I believe. Team Viral article keeping alive. This was their game with literally vibing on the ropes, Yelk. And it looks like they're not going to be able to convert here. Trying to get into this rat stop, but he finds another rat of his own. Just going to get taken right out. Literally vibing, though. Of course, where are they, Bert? In the position. Okay, so they weren't really out. Or did they recover?
I think they did recover. I think Sadie went down. I think Sadie was out of this game, had to come back in. But right now, as you can see, just by the armor, by the weapons, they are fully set up. They're in position, and they kind of disrupted that party that was going on under those gondolas.
So apologies for the confusion on that. I was a little confused myself. So, oh god, the free farm right here from this angle. Nobody's even shooting at him. He just gets to focus all his brain power and finger power into just shooting these targets and farming up that red shield. He's 100 damage away from literally vibing being an absolute juice squad.
Sadie using this heartbeat so frequently too. I mean, Seer just gets constant info with that heartbeat that no other legend in the game brings. This jump pad now might spoil a rotation. This could actually be tricky if there is a team behind this rock, and it seems like LV knows that there is.
They're just in position, Yelk, every time.
Yeah.
Is it luck? Is it skill?
It's not luck.
That's the thing.
At this point, it is not luck.
No.
They know how to stand in place to win games.
Yeah. But they just somehow get there, too. Like, I'll take a position that looks pretty good. I'll flip the coin.
They sometimes get there. A lot of times, I feel like they take it.
No, that's true. I'm sure that they took this. Looks like Arc of Zero and KD and the rest of his team, KRKD, makes a big jump pad rotation. Quicks in a tough spot. No Gibby, disconnected on his end. So they're not going to have a bubble, but they're going to have they're not going to have that jump pad anytime soon because it got shot out a little bit ago. They're just pinned down and hoping that they can get third because another squad goes out before them. Drex moves right up, takes that space. Well done on his part, hoping he doesn't get shot from an off angle.
Literally vibing on the backside of this little high ground here, though. They are still thirsty for these kills on the KTZ Quicks. And it looks like they've got a crack onto the Octane, but they're not going to push up just yet. Still hedging their bets that they're standing in the best spot on the current map. Just hurting this team behind the rock, and there's the down.
Yeah, not much they could really do there. You could say Rice went for a bit of an over peak, but he knew that if they wanted to have any chance, he had to get it down right there in that peak because the circle was coming up on the doorstep, and it's going to hurt Yelk. It's round number 5. Nobody messes with round number 5 circle. You barely want to touch number 4. They know somebody's down below. They're ratting in there, Yelk. Who is it? He looks like he's rotating out.
Look at Zen PK. Poor guy down there. The Seer ult comes out. He's going to have to be very careful about his movement. I think he was actually just spotted by Jaren, so poked the shoulder out a little too wide, and we could see him pay for it.
Who do we have left right now? What are the teams? Is it KRKD? Yep, with KRKD, we have Literally Vibing. We got one more squad hanging out in here. I don't remember who they are. That's okay. Looks like 3 full squads. I said a rat, but I can't tell. Looks like 3 people over there.
I think, yeah, we are down to our final 3 now. That kill was picked up.
Well,
ARKD may be in the best spot. This is a great rock.
yeah.
It's a hard rock to push up onto without a pad, too. You really can't aggress this team if they're getting a bat off.
And you see that line? That line is pretty close to them. That is a close, short travel distance line that they have to deal with. So they're just going to be hanging on to these guys right now. And
they should let a fight happen first. They're in the position to do so.
They want to let a fight happen, but they also don't want to give anybody a free rotation. Like right here, they have to apply that pressure because if they don't, they're just going to... This team's going to get loose on them. Ooh, but you don't want to go down. True Blue taking some heat on top of him. And I don't know if these guys have many kills. Hokage has got nothing right now. Looks like none of them have any kills, so they need this win more than anything because that would be at least 3 kills to their name and then the 12 on top. But KRKD going to have to slowly move in. They're going to focus that ult down swiftly. Really good to do because I feel like a lot of people don't know that you can do that. The rotation from Literally Vibing is coming in. They've got the bubble down, but that's the last bubble they're going to see in this game.
They've gotten the down, though. That was enough for them. Banshee coming around the right side of these rocks, getting that thirst in on the True Blue. And they know this is the best spot to stand for the end game, and that's why they want it. They want to kick KRKD out of this lobby. Banshee did finish off that kill. Now they're putting on the pressure on the left side. That kill, though, going to be picked up by Arc of Zero. That's going to be crucial for them on the leaderboard as the Literally Vibing comes in over the skies. They've got their wings. They've gotten down to the last 2 squads.
Yep, and that was a huge push from Literally Vibing because that knock that KRKD got, now they're not going to get. It's another free kill for Literally Vibing to add on to their 3rd win of this tournament here, Yelk. This is monstrous.
Insane stuff we're seeing from this team, similar to what we saw in June when United was turning it up on the final day of the tournament. But an incredible show this team is putting on for us, and I'm so happy we actually get to watch it because it's not often where you see a team assert dominance in game number 1, assert dominance in game number 2, and then game number 3. That was another one. The game wasn't fed to them.
No.
KRKD had the best positioning, and that was one of those times where Literally Vibing come out and they take it.
KRKD basically just came out and grabbed, I forget what this 3rd place point is. It was at 7. That's what I have in my head, but they just got that far. So close. Great positioning. No kills. They got that 1 knock, Yelk, but they weren't able to finish it. KRKD, I don't know if they, Literally Vibing, I don't know if they went, oh, they knocked a guy on that squad. We already killed a guy on your squad. We're going to kill you so we get all of your KP, and then we're going to get that free knock KP from that guy that you just downed for us. I mean, I don't know if they did that, but it kind of looked like it, so.
It definitely worked out for them, whether they tried to do it that way and executed or whether that kill was just pretty much like you said, given to them. And the rest of the game with it. But seriously, an end game that they had to work for. We're going to be going to a little bit of a break. Literally vibing. I think they've made it so we know what to expect from them, but other teams starting to make some waves. Don't go anywhere for game number 4 in 5 minutes. And welcome back to the action. We've got game number 4 on deck, and through the first 3, literally vibing did not disappoint. But Neil, you were thinking during the break there, this is just a qualifier. This is not for all the marbles. What other stories are you looking up? Because you were saying a lot of different teams are popping up and starting to impress.
I don't know about impressed. There's a lot of teams popping. Well, yeah, I guess that is the correct word. They're popping up. They're kind of impressing, not finishing, literally vibing. Just the most consistent thing out there right now. So it's so hard to talk about these other teams because, one game we talk about Buff Pathfinder. Then we've got KRKRD or KRKD in the final circle, but they had no kills. So they didn't really do a whole lot other than grab those points. So it's so tough. And I think Buff Pathfinder went out a little early. Team Viral taking another big hit in that game, going out. So all the competition right around this top team that just never ceases to win is just gaining more and more traction in this qualifier. But as you said, yeah, it's not for all the marbles, Yelk. So they're gonna have to do it again. At this rate, it looks like literally vibing can do it any day of the week. So that shouldn't be a huge issue for them. But
it is viable too for KRKD to play the way they did, ending up in the final zone without any KP. They're sitting in 10th.
Yeah,
We're going to see the top 20 teams from 2 different groups make it to the grand finals. They were already in 10th before their final circle finish, so it's probably helping them out to play that way. It's getting them where they want to go still. We can see them now. They've moved up to 9th, so a little bit safer in this one after that last one, despite not getting a single kill. It's all about working your way up to the leaderboard and getting to that grand final day. Seeding doesn't matter. This isn't a race. You don't start in the front because you placed number 1. You're all going to be on a level playing field once you get out of the field.
dude, literally vibing could just go to bed.
They actually could.
They could just go to bed. Probably with first place. That's insane.
I don't think they'd get first if they went to bed, but I
Dude.
think they would be.
No.
They
you're
would
right.
be above 8, without a doubt. If it was the most even game ever, and those teams started just to chew up the points on the leaderboard above them, they could still probably be in about 8th at the worst. That's insane.
Yeah, that
What
would
a
be the
team.
worst. That would be the worst, Young, because I mean, on 75 points is a lot in these tournaments. That's a lot. We're only through 3 games. You may see 75 through 4 games, right? So 3 games, 75 points, 39 kills, 33 placement, 12 plus 12 plus 12, whatever that is. Do the math for me, but is that 36?
36, buddy. You got it.
So hounding those points out. I mean, that is just ridiculous. 36 point. They could have got no kills, Yelk, somehow in 1 games, and they would have been beating half the team. So by Buff Pathfinder going out when they did, it really just that gap just opened right up. So we just got to see some teams step up, because that is the thing. We said if they went to bed, they could still place first. Or I did, but other teams then wouldn't have to go against literally vibing, who is just destroying everybody that they run into. It seems like they have that clutch factor. They had a nice clutch mid game over in the lava field. So
2 games in a row. If it's gonna end over on that side of the map, they know where to be, and that is such a rare thing to see from a team. To not mess that up, to not even be challenged until the very end, is remarkable that they're able to do it.
yeah, I love it. Ripping right to the next game here, getting right.
Oh, they're doing it. They're doing it. They're going Rampart. They're going Fuse. And guess what? They're probably going. You go Seer to keep Jaren on the Octane here, the Gibby player. Over on.
Oh, he's going Octane. They got to rotate.
think?
They can have the
He was
goofballs, but
on
they got to
Mirage
rotate.
last time. He's on
It's
Octane.
true. It's true. But they're getting these cards out there. Love it. Either way, I mean, the thing is Jaren being on. I mean, who isn't an Octane player at this high level who can't just play Octane? But Rampart Fuse, I mean, I shouldn't give too much credence to this, of course, but that is the DPS. Like, those are damage characters. Like, if you're going to put them in any category, they do, even if they, like, you know, Rampart is technically, like, defensive. I mean, it's, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It's a crazy comp. I'm curious how they're going to do. They're just trying to give another team a chance to win, I guess. And they still might win if they win with this comp.
They're not giving anyone a chance to win. The last time we saw them put on Rampart, Fuse, and Mirage, they walked all over the lobby like never before because they were ego dueling everyone with Mirage. And then, just like they always do, they were in the best spot for the last 2 zones, and they won it that way with Rampart turrets, keeping everyone back a pretty safe.
Yeah. And those shields, I mean, that's the thing with Rampart. People say Rampart needs a buff, and maybe she needs like a little bit of a change. I feel like more of a rework of abilities where you buff something, nerf something, because she's one of those characters where she can be played very, very well. SPZ losing tower. He might reconnect. He's going to be caught in the... He's going to be caught right now, but either way, hopefully not caught for too long. Oh, we do have a Trials team. I love me some Trials. Get the gunplay going. NRT, one of our top teams, correct, Yelk?
One of them, yeah. Actually, no, they still are. They're up there at number 5 right now as they pick these dogs off. Sorry, I was slipping down the leaderboard. I looked across real quick to a name that looked similar, but yeah, they're at number 5. They had a great first game, and that's how they find themselves where they are now. Sitting in at 20 total points, and that is on the bubble where if they don't have a good game here, they could fall a lot of places, and they don't have much to gain from the teams above them. So this is when consistency actually matters most, when a lot of these teams are close in a pack together, when the leaders have separated themselves and you can't even try to get that spot on the leaderboard. You have become an on-the-bubble team, and even though NRT is in 5th, they are in that slot of being an on-the-bubble team, because it is not a shortfall to 12 points.
Right here, under some pressure, dropping Skyhook. Now, they're dropping everywhere, too. Like, they have no consistency to their name, and good thing that they kept the Octane with this Fuse. Oh, they're falling dangerously low, Yelk. Oh, boy, that was close.
Do they know who they're aggressing right now? I mean, they must, because no one else is on these legends in the lobby.
Yeah.
Angie actually has some purple Evo shields, so this could be one of the times where this insanely talented player is set up to make an insanely clutch play for his team.
I love me some Fusey. He's such an interesting character because he has his threats. That's the thing with all these legends is they have their threats. They're just not as consistent. Can they fight this KRKD team off? They want their KP, and they're going after the team who's got probably the worst comp setup possible. He's got the Ring of Fire too, yo. So he might just lay that down in the building. It's one of the best spots to use it. Just put it in the building. Old JC.
Couldn't imagine pushing into this and then knowing who's behind it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like ranked where you come across these teams and you don't know who's playing these legends. Everyone knows. If you run into a Rampart or a Fuse, you are running into the most threatening team in the lobby.
Yeah. Horrifying. Truly.
Yeah.
And I love how they have some the push in. Gonna just take him right out. It's all these shots. Banshee just ripping
goes down as well. Man, this team just got swatted away like flies. Sadie's actually by this Rampart barrier, and he had a very nice shield dance with it. You could see that enemy came across, and you actually saw Sadie doing some amplified damage through that. Now under the scan again is KRKD. As they're starting to get some members back up, they're starting to go just as quick, and this looks like it's Alpha Gaming coming in here to try and get some of these kills. Or no, Pressure Alpha. That is the team that just wiped them out.
You said Alpha Gaming, and it sounded good, though. I was with it.
They used to be a team.
Yeah, I know.
They might have even been a team in qualifier.
It might have been. Well, when you said it, I was like, that's not right. But, God, if you were going to pick anything to say for an Alpha team, Alpha Gaming would have been step one. Literally vibing. Going to be trying to make a rotation back. I don't know where he's going. They're setting up in this building, Yelk. I thought that was to get away. They're getting in. They want in. Yelp.
It's crazy how this team sets up a bunker. I mean, to just be able to change your playstyle from this crazy run and gun team that is just good at picking your spots and locking down the final zones, And then you go into one of these teams where that is actually a part of this composition that shines, especially in the mid game. You can really see how this team could never let a building get out of its grips once they're inside.
Well, that first team that we saw push them, I mean, you said the shield dance. I mean, pushing, just trying to crawl over these shields is such a nightmare to begin with. Wait, oh, I thought they saw an enemy in there. Ooh. I don't know. I thought there was something crazy was about to happen. Gibby ult just gonna catch him. Oh, was that a caustic combined with a Gibby ult, just taking out two basically?
That is so much
Maybe.
AoE damage, it's crazy. Look at
Well, it
Dynamite
just-
up there, king of the castle.
Yeah, it just slows you down too. No, okay, it wasn't. The Gibby was a defensive ult. The caustic gas was to slow so that you could beam him in the open. Such an interesting ult. I've been using it a lot recently. Ooh, I love the Prowler. Hitting some nice beams right there. The 5-round burst. Always threatening on the Prowler.
Feels great in the hands of a controller too. You can
Oh.
really just thumbstick down that 5-burst recoil, stepping into the bubble, and no chance
1v1.
for Sandmaster. 1v1. Dynamite stepping up for the clutch, missing the shots with the G7 though, and now kicked out to the outside of the bubble.
And I would have just gone for that reload. He pulls the G7 out 3 times up close. Maybe cancels a res. Maybe just wants to get the scan. He's getting some cells off. He gets his own ban off. He's going to go in for this beam. If he can hit it tight, he's going to blow him up here, it looks like.
Oh no, he
Little
got the
dance.
bat off. Oh, Dynamite! So low HP with the clutch. Nearly. He came in, he canceled that bat with the sear scan. And I mean, if you take Twitter, you can see people are all over the ability being able to do that because not only does it cancel it, you get a read on it, and it gives you the timing advantage to get that bat off of your own, like we saw Dynamite do. And then he just took the fight to the building and did not disappoint us.
Yeah, that was really, really good right there. That's like the G7. It just displayed how good the G7's hipfire is. It's how good the hipfire is in this game. And Potato looking to lock this room down. No question. I've been loving Caustic recently, Elk. I know it's not necessarily a top meta pick, I don't think, for these top teams. But I like he always gets picked in every tournament because he has a purpose. You know? You can get your building, hold it down.
He
People have a
garners
tough time
so
pushing
much
into you.
respect. Like
Yes.
people will see a Caustic they have to push against, and just if they have the space in the map to ignore it, 9 out of 10 times that is what we see.
A big issue my squad was having when I was trying to rank up on my main account was that we would win a fight early, and right when we'd win it, we'd go down and we'd still lose a lot of points, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop playing Octane. I'm just going to go Caustic, just see what it's like for a bit. And we really, we kind of, sometimes we wouldn't have as high kill games. We wouldn't be going as hard, but we'd have a really good rotation game and good positioning, which is what Caustic really sets you up to do. And then if you do win a fight, you can set those barrels up. Nobody can push hard into you, and then you have the ult to really kind of mitigate whatever you need to do or breach a building. But here we are, literally vibing, mopping up NRC, casual, 2 golds in the bank. They're playing whatever they want, yo. They're playing with the lobby. That's what they're doing.
And this is what's dangerous about when literally vibing starts to play the game to have fun. I mean, they were
Yeah.
taking the first 3 games very seriously, and now that they're having fun, they're going to be pushing fights, not afraid of getting knocked out of the games early, so they could actually end up with way more kills than we've seen in the previous 3 games that they all won.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not that they're having fun, but I guarantee their comms are very similar with maybe a few more chuckles,
Oh, yeah.
They're still going to be super about because it's really hard to turn those off. When we goof around or whatever, say on Overwatch, our game that we took rather competitively seriously, maybe you're playing QP, but you're playing the characters that you main in ranked and in league play, and you just start calming like you calm in, ranked or whatever, So I'm sure it's kind of like that because they are still playing a high level right now. RGR gets that crack on the zipping team. Gets a knock, it looks like, from the longbow. That's why it's so hard to balloon against teams that are peeking you.
Pressure Alpha lost a member there that they definitely shouldn't have in that escape attempt, and no chance for Jerry's. He's going to be going down to a Wraith, but Wraith now in the valley and in some trouble as he is staring
got
down the best team in the lobby.
Oh no, they might even set up some shields here, and this is where they get so dangerous. If they do set up those shields, it looks like they haven't though, which is
Back
good.
to the point of the comp they were playing. Could be having fun, could be taking it super seriously, but I think they also could just be taking these legends and then in the back of their head they just know. Listen, everyone knows we're on these. We've got
Yeah.
something to prove, you guys.
Yeah.
We've done it before already too,
Everybody-
so
yeah.
we've got a reputation to uphold on these legends.
Yeah, you definitely are going, because sometimes you start trading with a player. I've seen some pro stuff from like TSM and all those guys, and you see some playthroughs, and they go, "Hey, that this team is that team. We got to beat them," or like or it's not like they say it a little more concisely than I just did, but they say some stuff like that. So teams do key into who other teams are based on skins, based on where they are, kill feed. They put everything together. And you don't really have to do that. You just see, oh, Fuse? Okay. Rampart Shield? Watch out.
Just like a big billboard that advertises the name of their org. And this is a squad that apparently they don't play with anyone else. I saw on Twitter, I think it was Sadie tweeted that he was looking for people to play with because if Jaren and Banshee aren't on, they just don't play. So you got to imagine this team, they only ever play together. They're only ever thinking along the same wavelength. So if
Very
one of them
cool.
suggests, let's go to this comp, they're probably already all thinking it.
Yeah. That's just the best way to do it. I've had some conversations with people that I just start playing with, and you go, oh, you're a good player, I'm a good player, but we do need to, I guess let's take the name. You have to literally vibe a little bit. You have to be on the same wavelength. It looks like 3 purples moving in on some weak armor here, Yelk. Buff Pathfinder, not the team that we saw move in, but they're in a pretty good skirmish of their own, and a team that we like to keep an eye on. The G7 here from Dre, always good. Gets those free peaks with the Gibraltar shield, and we know who they're shooting. If they don't, I don't know how, because those are some Rampart shields, Yelk. Literally vibing is going to be up on that high ground, looking up down. Kraber shot onto
Bursty.
Banshee from Bursty. That's exactly what we need to see right there. The recovery is going to try to come out, but so is the jump pad. Isn't it enough to get him up?
Barely by a hair, he climbs his way up the cliff, but the bat should already be up and literally vibing. They might have found their footing. Bursty senses it too, jumps back down to the low ground.
Not enough synergy here on the jump up. The Octane knew he wanted to go, but his teammates were not close enough behind to try to make a conceded push onto that. And 2 gold armors on literally vibing, really showing what it can do. Everyone running through that fire, which by the way hurts and slows you quite a bit, hits 2 different players. A Kraber shot going to the wayside. The recovery's perfect. That is why high ground is so good, because you have to make such a crazy play to go finish it up, and then gold armor to boot, or maybe they even got a bag. Who knows?
Such a crazy play, and one we saw Bursty go for, but like you touched on, just not succinct enough to his team. And what we do talk about literally vibing so much is when they push together with an Octane, it is 3 at the same time, and they usually get the job done. Bursty right there totally had the right idea, but his team was lagging behind just a second or 2. That's what makes the difference in these games.
And the thing was he went when he had to. You get
Had
that
to.
kill, you have to go right away. So it's not even like
Green
he can
light.
wait. He's hoping he gets up there, sees the res, re-knocks him, and then gives his team time. Sadly, wasn't able to, because I think that team's recovery is just going to be too good if they're in the proper position. And let's be honest, they're always in the proper position. Right now, Knight. I'm trying to remember what Knight was.
This is Team 2. This is going to be ranked as harder.
Ranked is harder. Probably.
What? Ranked being harder?
Well, yeah, it's way harder, yo. No, I thought that was Team 10 from before. That's who Knight plays
No,
for?
it was. They got changed.
Okay.
They're the only team that's unnamed though. So if you ever see Team something,
Okay.
likely them. We do see who is that?
Buff
Team
Pathfinder.
Viral going down
Oh.
early. Stepped into by Buff Pathfinder, and that is what they need to do. That's a team that they really have to take it to. This is number 2 Buff Pathfinder.
Oh!
Just taking a step ahead.
That's a 101 headshot there from Chuck Norris!
My guy,
Getting in the feed!
do it again.
Do it again. Absolutely. He's got 4 kills right now, Yelk.
No, I know. I mean, like we've said it before.
I know.
He noticeably dies so early, so much.
I
but
think
he
it's just
also is like a
unfortunate.
kill threat for his team.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think it was just us watching the wrong guy in one day that we casted, and they play way more than we get to cast them, so. Just an unlucky. They gave him the purple shields, though, yo.
Maybe
They
they were
know.
listening. Let's enable Chuck.
Yes, that's the thing. Is that if I ever harp on anybody too much, I just go, "Hey, you're 3 billion times better than me." I'm not actually trying to. Big shots, takes 2 down with. Oh, that's massive. Can he get the 3K right here, yo? The punch goes out, but the Wraith is gonna come in just in time. Someone else trying to come in, hits the burst.
Great
Dre.
turnaround by Dre.
Massive turnaround.
Not over yet, though. There's still one member at large in this fight. Maybe on the other side of this Wraith portal, going to be a dangerous push here for Shrills. Coming up on this rock, putting a free fire in, but the member's back in the building. It's going to be Bursty.
party
He does
too,
actually go
nearby.
down.
We got Rice and the boys on the third party just on the outside. If they push this now, they get a free kill. Now they're boosting in with the jump pad. Oh, and they're going to knock on the door, and it's going to be probably one of the easiest team wipes to get unless Buff Pathfinder clutches out of their mind. They have a chance to, though.
Oh, tough for Buff Pathfinder here. I mean, you would love to see a recovery happen, but they're down to their last member. Dre, the last one alive, does get a good crack in. Can he
They're all
recover?
one.
They're all so low inside there. He has a chance, gets one,
No.
gets a second. Nearly does he have it in the bag. Oh my god, he puts the shots in. He's gotten the crack. No scope. What did he do? He did it.
That's the play of the tournament.
That's the play of the year.
Moment of silence.
Sir, my hat is off to you.
My hands are on my head. That was disgusting. It's Dre Day, dude. Jeez.
It is Dre Day. Oh my god. This man's gonna give me
Can
a
we
heart
just
attack.
spectate him for the rest of the game? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Don't
his hands are
don't
hot.
do
Keep
that.
it over there.
Oh my god.
A no scope, the flashiest clutch I've ever
He
seen.
had to.
Had to.
Had to. He was low. He had 2 cells and like 10 HP. Dude. I mean, up close, I mean, it does shoot straight. It's a shotgun, but... Oh, he's putting the... That's a good play right there for the res. He's going to put the kill him switch on, but... Puts the ult there, makes it so they can't push out. Gonna get his boys back. Maybe gonna be able to get them somewhere, but this is his one chance to respawn. Shocking he was even... Oh, literally vibing. Feasting. They want the...
So hungry.
They're so hungry.
Oh my god.
Another
they got
team's gonna
their
be hungry
forks and
with them,
knives
though.
and their placemats.
Oh man, this is like feeding rats to a cobra. Watch out. Oh, Banshee.
Oh my god. What a laser beam
Yeah.
out of the R301 from Banshee. They want these kills. Unfortunately for Dre, this might be the end for his team in this game, but the best
Oh boy.
single-player performance I have ever seen from anyone to earn a clutch.
Breach and clear.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Stand back, put the earplugs in, because they are knocking down the doors and they're not taking
yeah.
any prisoners here. Jaren does get that down onto Shrills, and it's all up to Dre,
Ah.
and this time, you won't be so lucky. Sadie getting a headshot kill onto him using the Volt.
Dude. So sad to see him go out, but we knew there was no way that he could replenish his whole team right there. Oh my beam! Through the shield right there. Hit him for 204, not missing a single shot. Banshee is on something else right now with these beams, but when is he not? Let's be honest.
Yeah, the way this entire team shoots the R301
Dude.
is something to behold.
It's crazy. Can I follow all of them on Twitter? I don't even care if you post anything. This is ridiculous. Maybe Q with me.
Follow all of them on Twitter. You should too. Everyone in chat should as well. They're worth keeping up with. They're
I've-
going to be something
I
pretty
follow
good.
Jaren. Maybe Sadie, actually. But I haven't seen the other one yet. I'll have to take an actual look. But, hey, anyone here, follow me. Neely_casts. I cast the Apex stuff. But Banshee under some
Yeah, you
pressure
said it, I'll
now.
say it. Alt_charge. Give me a follow too. Literally vibing. Back in the mix. Make sure you follow CGL
Yes.
as well. Console Gaming LG on Twitter.
Oh, hits
Keep
him
up with
a
all the
shot.
tournaments that are going to be happening. That is the last member. That's going to be
Dude.
XLG, I believe. No, who is
Maybe
that?
get the new
Who's Highland?
CGL merch, Yelk, Well,
Yeah.
while we're talking about stuff,
Can we get a literally vibing jersey?
can we? Yo, where's
we
Banshee
can,
right
dude,
now?
honestly, sick brand name. If they get some good colors and nice
Actually,
design,
yeah, they could get
if
some
they're up on the collection page, that's a good look.
get some tie-dye going.
Hey man,
Oh, the
just
beat.
literally vibing, literally hitting 120 bombs
Dude, he's
into this
just-
armor, down to the final 2 squads, and literally vibing on the mean comp
Oh, that's a
again. They're gonna be
great
our
ult.
champions as long as Sadie and Banshee
Oh,
can stay alive
my.
and they withstand.
Dude.
Abnormally assembled,
All right.
literally vibing.
I think they could go to bed now, Yelk.
They could go to bed.
This is crazy.
We have our Apex champion.
How are they this good in comparison? It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is incredible. This team brings something to the tournament that just no one else seems to. They're the only team that can get away with running these comps, and they've done that thing that great teams do on the final day where they just turn up the dial. It's all the way to 10. They're not taking any prisoners, not giving anyone a shred of mercy tonight.
Well, either way, we've talked about literally vibing enough. You guys can keep winning and playing
They earned
your
it.
fun heroes.
My hat's
but
off to them. My hat's off to Dre.
That's what I was gonna get to. Is I think Dre deserves to get talked about because I mean, props to the production team on catching that, not being on a different fight, finding that play. I mean, on these replays that we see for our 5-minute break, Yunk, I want to see that just on repeat. No, it'll be a bunch of different
5
plays.
minutes of
But
that.
that whole thing has got to be in there because that was gross. So
That was seriously so good. The best thing I've ever seen. I honestly don't even want to lollygag too much. We got to take a look at our scoreboard, maybe, or we might just jump in right to a break.
I think we have to jump to well, we're gonna jump right to a break now, Yelk. After the break, we'll get to see some scoreboard. Be right back after this.
Enjoy the.
All right, and we're back with the CGL Summer Series. We've been watching some good games so far. A little bit of Fuse in our last one, which you're never going to see again, I don't imagine. Even though he's been buffed, probably not going to see it again, but literally vibing, Yelk. Hot. That's all I can say. Did they crack 25
something
points
else,
that game?
man.
They
Something
did.
else. They're over 100 points. Nobody does this, and that was only game number 4. I mean, you do that in a 6-game set, but through 4 games, averaging 25, over 25, that is insane. Because I see Buff Pathfinder, I see Team Viral, 2 teams that have done very well today. Team Viral, way less so than Buff Pathfinder, just by the numbers, but
Dude.
Buff Pathfinder doing so well today, and they're only at 60. That just speaks to what this literally vibing team is capable of. And I hope someone steps out of Group B that poses them a little bit more of a challenge than they're seeing today.
Yeah, I do too here, Yelk. I mean, stuff is going to change on the final day because it's going to be one set, the last set of 20, right? So someone's going to have to get crowned the victor, of course, and it's going to be the best of the best. We always say for each round, each qualifier, each everything, these are the best of this, they're good. They're getting better and better as we go. But I mean, it's truly after today, it's going to be the best. And right now, it's still a really good lobby. So not really much to complain about. Nell actually kind of
No,
doing pretty
there's-
good.
There's only a couple teams I think we're missing out on in this one. Backburner, CCO Esports, Yuzu Dog, the other CCO team, CCO Black. These are teams that I think that could come over from Group B and really up the competition even at that highest level in these top 3 teams we're talking about right now. There could be a lot more from Group B. I don't actually know how that game is going along right now, but this team literally vibing. The ones at the top, you've said it before. They could go to bed. They could literally vibe the rest of the night, and they would be right where they are right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, literally vibing, just out in front. Buff Pathfinder doing a great job right now, even though they can't quite get it done. I already forget what it was, but they have like 19 placement points and like 41 kill points.
Yeah,
so
41 KP.
that's 41 kills for a squad right there. That's pretty
Literally
crazy.
vibing only has, what is it? 15 more. No. 13 more KP. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong numbers. I was crossing up the columns on the wrong sheet.
Yeah,
13 more KP than Buff Pathfinder, but they've got 42 more points.
absolutely. I mean,
That's it.
yeah, if you win every game.
If you win every game and if Buff Pathy goes out early like 8th instead of 2nd every game, it's not just winning every game, it's also those other teams, talk about consistency, they're not always getting out 3rd or 2nd. That changes up. The only thing that is consistent all night long is literally vibing in 1st.
Yeah, I mean, It's hard. It's really.
I don't know what to say. It's hard.
It's tough.
They earn it. Like us talking about
Yeah.
them so much, they earn it because it's insane what they're able to do, and you just really can't stop talking about it because game after game, it's going to be fascinating. They're going to throw on a different comp, and you think it's not going to work, and then they have their best game of the night.
Yeah.
What is that? That is nothing else but just greatness and a great team. Talk about greatness, though. We saw the replays. We got to see a third-person view of it too. Dre's clutch.
Yeah.
You are level 500 on Apex,
Me?
right?
No.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Or 60 something. Like you're close.
I'm close. I'm within like.
Best
20.
play you've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, well, because
Yeah.
here's the thing. It's not just a 1v3 clutch. We've all seen somebody do that, right? And that's still crazy. But
Anytime it happens, the 1v3 clutch is nuts.
they had just won a squad fight where they lost to. He was low. They were trying to recover, and the jump pad comes in to finish this guy. He takes a little peek, hits a beam, goes around a corner, hits another beam. He's got 2 low, loops around over the top, comes
While
in the
getting
back door.
chased.
Yeah, knocks those 2. The guy chasing then drops down. He hits another beam onto him for a second while he's only 2 cells and like 10 HP, and then
Yeah.
pulls out the no scope on the Kraber and just puts him away like a shotgun.
What's crazy is he couldn't do that with a shotgun. That's
No.
145 damage.
No.
He needed the Kraber in his hands to clutch that. That's
Just-
crazy. Like the chances of that happening, him having that gun in his hands for that opportunity, no scoping and not missing, insane.
Really put it on him right there. I mean, because that's the thing. It's like, we've seen Kraber no scopes like that. It's very close. Hip fire shoots straight. It's not the craziest shot in the world, but it's that he just 1v3 while trying to recover. Never at full HP, even close. Never.
No,
Literally just had to
not
shoot
even
it.
remotely. Had no business winning that once the Octane jump pad was on his rooftop. Had no business surviving the first 2 guys, and then he got them low. They're standing with their feet in cement while they're batting up, and he burst them down with that R301 clip, and yeah, you know the rest.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure they're, kind of kicking themselves because they finished his 2 guys. And while they finished them, they got finished. So it kind of, instead of just looking out there, like if those 2 had just been turned and ready for him to come to the door, blast it. Doesn't matter how low they are. He just loses. They just needed to get hit with like any amount of bullets. It was crazy. But we got to talk about maybe a couple other things going on. Buff Pathfinder, kind of in the driver's seat. It's almost like we should just talk about this game from second to last because literally Vibing's they're just winning. It's whatever. But either way, we should be getting into the game soon. I want to see Buff Pathfinder win a game.
I mean, they were the 9 seed too. They're already doing way more
Yeah.
than just surprise my expectations. I did say in the pregame I was keeping an eye out for them, but I kind of picked them because I liked their name. They didn't impress me too much in qualifiers. They came in 9th, middle of the pack in this group.
Mhm.
I didn't expect them to have a 33-point lead over 3rd place. That's ridiculously outperforming what I thought of this team.
Yeah.
I really just thought they had a great name, and maybe they didn't do so well in qualifiers, and I didn't notice them because they ran Pathfinder. But hey, Gibby does not need a buff.
Nope. Gibby doesn't need a buff, which is why they are running him. And it's because he's pretty good. He doesn't need a grapple either. So he just needs that bubble and the Gibbiness to him. Gibby's so good. Love Gibby. Such a bully.
He's so good.
Maybe he should.
The winning team didn't have him last time, so that's kind of
yeah. Well,
interesting.
they had a Rampart. Just got shields. Oh, I was hoping
Right.
they'd switch it up. I was hoping they'd go 2 different characters. Literally vibing, sticking with the same comp. Pretty good. RGR coming out with 2 Pathfinder. No, I'm just kidding. But they got a Pathy. Kind of curious what these teams are going to start doing as it dwindles the time down. SPZ was our 5th seed, Yelk, and I think they're in last right now.
They are. They actually do not have a kill on the day, and they only have 3 placement points.
That's got to be frustrating. That's just got to be so frustrating. Outrageously frustrating. Because, you just, you're seeded 5th. you feel like you're kind of got something
Qualifiers
going.
are so long too. Like that team had to grind to get into the top 10 and to break the top 5.
Yeah. And then to kind of come out and do this. But somebody had, that's the thing that is a bummer about these. Everyone always watches this, and I think they kind of want to get into this scene. Like, I mean, of course, like me, like I'm not good enough to, but like if I really improved, I'd be like, oh, I'd love to try to compete in this. It's so cool how they respect each other. But how everyone drops everywhere, it's very interesting, right? But somebody in every lobby, basically 5 to 10 teams are going to just be getting,
It's got to be someone.
they're KP.
I mean,
That's what they are.
yeah, they are KP. That's what they are, just walking around. It's got to be someone. That's why this competition looks interesting, because it is just a notch above what everyone is used to. But that's kind of what happens for some of these bottom of the ladder teams, like, for example, 11 through 17 in this one right now. RGR is actually a team that they've got 7 KP on the day, which is more than half the teams in the lobby, but the placement points haven't been there.
Yeah.
They have less placement points than they do KP. No, they don't. They have 2 more. But still, you get my point.
Also, what's with literally vibing, just picking different spots every time and just seeing who they can give it to? They just want to give it to a different squad right in the beginning, it seems like. That's their goal right now.
I don't know if they're trying to find someone in particular.
No,
but yeah,
no.
I mean,
They're just trying to
maybe
dish
it's
it.
hiding strats for the final day. Maybe it's setting a tone that we don't need to be like thoroughly drilled on where we drop. We can go anywhere and be such a threat, and not anyone you want to run into first.
Oh, the gold armor.
Hey, that's pretty good. He's got purple on too. This RGR team is going to be kitted for their first engagement. That was the team we were talking about. They're doing well with the KP, not too well with the placements. They might actually have an armor setup to get them closer to an endgame.
For a split second on my screen, I thought this was an Eva. He was peeking down. Clearly a Sentinel. Clearly a Sentinel Iron Sight. It's the one I use the most on the Sentinel. But I don't know. I was like, he's taking a long peek with this Eva. But some snipe trades, maybe trying to level up that armor.
Let's go over here.
They're at the top of trials, but I don't think they're gonna do it. I think they're a little worried something bad's gonna happen. NRT losing 1 right now. No good armor, but they have, they got a Prowler. They got an R301, and that is a deadly little duo right there if anybody pushes you, if they don't have guns to match.
Fuzzy might be going down here. Barely gets inside this door in time. It looks like now he's getting pushed up on, and they're not going to come knocking lightly.
Yeah, Quicks trying to hit some shots with the flatline. Such a good gun once again. Going to the far side. Just going to be trying to hunt this guy down. Can't quite find him. Trying to hit the beam. Gonna get the crack. Only 11 damage going through, so he already had a low shield. Bryce is just running him down.
Love watching Octane just get after a kill. They've got to be careful, though. It looks like Drex is actually going to go down in the back line, and that is literally vibing and rolling up. Sadie, charge rifling down Drex. That is a tough loss to have if you're KTZ Quicks.
Oh, that is so tough. I feel like you do have the 2 core players that do the most rotational. Like, if you're going to recover anybody, these are the 2 that you want to have. Oh, Evil. Evil's been, I don't know where they were placed. I didn't check, but they started to get a little momentum going last game, trying to get a recovery going right here. Looks like the team that they were fighting is launching out. There's so much happening. No! In the background there, Raging Nut's going to come in. Louv, sorry. Got the Eva, blasting him away.
Both Pathfinder and probably the most aggressive spot in Fragment taken construction building. A lot of people refer to that East Fragment blown up building as streamer building, but I mean, if you watch the videos I watch, Twitch highlights, this is the streamer building. People going crazy on these zip lines and not being afraid of anyone, no matter how many people in a squad push their way. If you got control of that high ground and those elevators, it is very tough to get knocked off.
Absolutely. And there's some fun spots to climb up I've seen. I remember watching a guy just in a pub one time. He was I just got a pred in my pub. And he was playing around in there, and there's just some pipes on the outside you can kind of hop on and climb up and kind of rat your way around that thing. And if you're not ready to know where that spot is, you're just going to wreck people just staring at 3 zip lines. So some people can really make some stuff happen. Arc starts going into the tiny room. Bursty, one of the best players we've watched all day. maybe had the highest kill game out of anybody. Don't know if that's a true stat, but he, was around 10. So
He's up there for the kill leader for
And that's one.
tonight. I mean, he is right up in there with people in Literally Vibing who are pretty much contesting every other top spot, but comes in there and he does get that down on that Chronic, and Above Minds also goes down to Shrill. So this team comes in, they clean up too. Buff Pathfinder looking very good so far, as things are getting pretty hot around Fragment, as you can see by this third-person camera we've got flying around. There's still quite a few teams here, despite 3 already being taken out of the city.
yeah, and Buff Pathfinder was going to be taking out Raging Nuts right there. Tough loss for them. Very, very early for them, because they're one of those teams that, I also said we should probably take a peek at, and they've had a little bit of trouble, just kind of finding their footing. But looking at what I'm looking at now, it looks like we have a lot of people in Fragment, or at least around it. I don't know how far this thing stretches, to be entirely honest. Looks like we have a lot of people in Fragment, from what I can tell. Well, some of them are like 500 meters away, but some of them are coming in on a zip line.
Yeah, and it looks like just death from above as Dre Day continues. He takes down Jared. The spray doesn't stop there. Taking down Manuel as well, and that is going to be Pressure Alpha finding their way out of the game.
And that right there does make, I know they only had 2, but that does make you go, isn't Caustic a bit silly? He just didn't do much. Like, they just walked right through it and just beamed him down.
What do you think about Dre? I mean,
He's been pretty good.
lethal. He's kind of in the shadow of Bursty, who we were talking up earlier,
Yeah.
but to get as many kills as Buff Pathfinder have, they've got to have multiple threats, and I think that a lot of Shrill saves his seer scans. He really does save those scans until they've got cracks. He doesn't just get the initial info for them. These are all good players, and they know what that first scan is going to pick up. If anything, he's going to get the armor info, but they know they can get that from bullets, from line of sight. He's constantly using them to cancel bats, to cancel shield cells, to just put more pressure and a stun on teams that are already on the back foot. But Trill's, as I'm talking, goes down to Sadie, and this is just how Literally Vibing does it. They come in, they cast or curse us when we're trying to talk up the second best team, and they just let us know that they're still in this lobby too.
Wait, Jaren's down. Dre, can he clutch it again? Get Sadie. Looks like they're going to go out here, yo.
It's Bursty. It's all down to Dre again against the best team in the lobby. If he does it again,
No!
he's not quite able to.
That clutch
fall the
factor.
Banshee. But, dude, I would not want to have anyone other than Dre being standing for that team after that performance he put on last game. But Literally Vibing knocks off the number 2 team, and they are the kings of Fragment right now.
How do they not lose? I mean, granted, Dre and company almost swung that one back. They lost the first down. They got a counter down. Now it's a 2v2. They get another one, but again, now it's a 1v1, and Literally Vibing just like that United team we used to see, who would always just clutch up when it counted. So just kind of seeing it again from our now new top team of Literally Vibing, just finding ways to just clutch out of their minds, show that when it comes right down to it, they are the most skilled team. They're the most skilled gun-wise.
Most
Team
skilled team,
viral.
most skilled gun-wise. Sorry to cut you off right there, but most
No,
skilled
I
team
stopped.
positionally, they can play every part of the map in just such an elite way.
Absolutely. And see, Knight, yeah, he's on Team Viral here. Trying to find a footing, but ouch, that's going to hurt, folks. Gonna have to regroup here. Fence seems to be lit on fire by a thermite. No, he's out in the circle. My apologies. Oh, this is a rotation from hell right here. Knight going to be getting cut down. And can Fence make it? Fence is just barely going to squeak right in there. Article doing what he does as well. They're getting chased down, but Article kind of swat him back. Gonna get the knock on the Potato there. They wanted to take that aggression, but Article hitting some great shots to help Fence get the recovery that he needs. Now, Tower. Oh, looks like Fence doesn't have any meds because he's got them all up right now, and that's it. He's just running now.
Oh, man. I mean, how do you rat when you're this big? It is tough to play hide and seek when you're the biggest kid in the room, and Fence is going to have a tricky time hiding with this little HP on Gibraltar.
Yeah, maybe he could put his shield down and hide for an extra 0.2 seconds before he gets absolutely swarmed. But now he's just kind of up on this hill, just hanging out. Maybe going to go for a banner play, but Gibby might be one of the worst characters to go for a banner play. He's got the bubble, You got to have like an Octane and a Gibby combo so that maybe you can use bubble to get the banner, then get pad out, do something, but just a Gibby. That's a long run for a Gibby, Yelk.
Yeah, that's a big haul for a big man. Might be able to make it. Might push the banners for the
I
homies,
just saw
but
Fusey.
it's gonna be so difficult. Coming in now is SPZ as they finish off Knight from Team
Hey!
Viral, and that's gonna be pretty tough for them. They're down to again just fence. This team either make it to the end game or they're out pretty early. I mean, they're not most consistent, but they do somehow find themselves in top seeding.
I don't know.
Were you getting at something?
I don't know. I just saw some crazy teabags going out, and then literally Vibing started shooting them like they should be. The 3 times on the L-Star, nobody's asking questions. I've actually seen this a few times, and it's kind of nasty. I don't get it.
Too good for me. My ALCs aren't high enough to control that. There's no amount I could pull a thumbstick down to control this. All right,
Okay.
he's got the one times hollow. This is looking a little more purposeful here.
Yeah, L-Star Eva. Pretty good. Pretty good little combo. Kind of I mean, that's the thing with this new buff. It's maybe more of an AR now. Oh, that's one falling dangerously low. Jaren not going to be missing those shots. Going to be cutting him right out of the sky. Look at that accuracy. Just the whole way. So jealous.
On it. Just on it.
I know he's
Couldn't be
down,
me.
but like, still. Also, just ripped through about 200 or 150 bullets, like that.
Yeah. Out of the L-Star too. I mean, hip firing, so you don't have to manage that recoil, but still, that's probably the only way he can track that with that gun, is with the hip fire. You aim down the sight with that thing and you're suddenly just looking into the sky.
Yeah, and it's just
The
got
buff,
that.
though, it is the new Spitfire. I wouldn't quite say it holds a torch to just how good the Spitfire was, but
No.
the L-Star with a mag on it is a phenomenal weapon.
Yeah, Magna, the barrel just really just changes the game on that gun, you know. Can't argue with how good it is because it's just an SMG basically. It does have worse movement though. Slower ADS speed, all that, trying to hit those shots is dynamic. Can't quite do it. RGR to the headshot.
Oh, headshot down!
Oh, the 101. So deadly on this buffed last season longbow. Gave you a little extra juice on it because it kind of needed a little love. Otherwise, why would you use it? G7 was basically the same gun, just shot faster, carried better ammo. Because that's the problem with snipers is the ammo is carried in a terrible way. That's why the G7's so good. Well, the beams. Gonna have to not peek that, Mr. Toto. MXH in this building, then they're gonna come out and try to pincer him. Wraith too thick, getting pressure down. You gotta jump, my guy. I know the armor swap. He's hanging on right now.
Hey, RKD trying to finish off this kill. If they get Wraith down here, it is not looking good for this RGR team as they're trying to be the aggressors themselves.
Absolutely. Just kind of hanging on, holding position. Gets the scan on him. Wraith too thick, trying to get these heals off. He's got the ultimate in hand. Door's gonna get busted down right now by that thermite, which is something that nobody, I don't think, really does. The thermite and up rampage does cut down doors. I've actually never tried to do it, but it's because thermites take them out. Oh,
Now, so aggressive, looking like they're throwing punches, but now the bullets start to fly. Toto, the last one remaining for MXH. He's going to be going down there as RGR. They finally finish off that squad in that building they've been eyeing for so long, but now they've got to be careful
canceled.
as the third party is on the doorstep.
That cancel on the res is so rough. Damn. That's just a bummer, you know. Maybe you get that recovery. Now you just can't. Kassir can just shut that down. Gonna be trying to put down the mobile respawn through the window. Not gonna be able to put it down for himself, though. And we're back to literally vibing. A little breath of fresh air
little bit of a strange comp. Get to see a few different people. Oh, he's gonna put the ring of fire way off in the distance. Isn't gonna hit anybody. I don't. Oh no, it spotted an enemy actually. Oh no, never mind. My bad. That's Sadie doing that. Nonsense.
Who's our current kill leader? I actually haven't seen it. I
Right
mean, I
here,
know we've
it's
got
Banshee.
Banshee at 3, but I think 2 or 3 people are sitting at 3, and I'm curious on
I'm-
who the others are.
Yeah. Someone
Yeah,
just took
Slinky.
it.
I knew someone had to have
Yeah.
it on ranked as harder. Yeah, Slinky just took it with 4, as you can see in the kill feed.
Absolutely. Slinky. Slanking it up.
Slanking the damage.
Yeah. Slinging bullets.
Crazy how much this game has revolved around fragment
Fragment.
through
Yeah.
all of qualifiers and everything. This might be one of the first times we've gotten a fragment final zone, and it's really interesting to see it come around the east side.
I want to say we maybe got it one other time, but that could have been last tournament. It's hard to remember. Either way, you don't get a lot of fragment ends. It always likes to go somewhere. Fragment's not one of those places. It might end around it, just
It
It-
loves to end around a lava fissure. It just loves to.
loves
No
it.
matter where it is, could be fragment, could be southwest side of the map, but it loves to have that divisive little strip between the final zone that separates some squads.
Absolutely. And this is the problem with it ending fragment is there's 7 squads up. You know? It's a
You can
good
hide
amount of-
out for a while.
You can hide for a long time. But the circle's going to close. People are going to have to rotate, and people are going to die. That's just how the game works. Someone's going to have to rotate, and someone's going to be ready to catch them. The nade goes down, and I think they're jumping down? I don't know. I can't imagine. Yeah, no.
Ranked is harder. They're going to take this building as their own. Could serve them very well going into the next zone after this one closes. Gauzen's got the red armor. This is a team that's pretty well kitted. They've got the kill leader as well in Slinky on their squad. So this is a team that is taking all callers this game. We're seeing a 30-30 with the 3 times. Seen it a couple times this game, but it really does not hold up to the charge rifle. A hit scan across the map. And this is going to be True Blue trying to find a better spot of ground to stand on, because I believe that was Jaren who was looking at him, and that's the last person you probably want looking at you.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with a hit scan gun. But also the 30-30, I am a firm believer that the bullets move slower than the arrows in this game, because that gun just feels wrong at any range it's supposed to be used at. Well, here comes the rotation, and Hokage is in position to just cut him down. Not quite going to find that kill. Getting launched on, actually, by some red armor. Hokage now finding himself out of position.
What a crazy push on the KRKD that was, and that's actually going to be, I believe, RGR, the ones taking them out. Who is ranked as harder? Oh, no. This is not the team that just got the wipe. I was confused because the swap went over to them. Yeah, RGR got that wipe with a pretty crazy rotation to get right on their heads. They're going to have to fend off ranked as harder. And at this point, nearly down to 4 squads left, and everyone seems to be kitted up with red armor. At least someone on the team has been doing a ton of damage for every squad so far.
Yeah, this is tough. Goes for something in that corner he wanted. I think he wanted some ammo. I don't know, but he doesn't wish he didn't go for it now. Going to get taken straight out of that. Maybe it was a banner. Either way.
Down to 3.
Count of 3. It's funny how quick it goes. We just had 7, yo. And then the buildings weren't in it anymore. It's a lot of open area. There's a big fragment, actually, in the middle of this one. And someone's going to be forced to do something. They don't have a Gibby ult, but Banshee does have a similar one in a way.
In a way. Can
Ring of
definitely
fire.
rain down some fire on them. I love just the rampart setup with Sadie, though, because you shoot these snipers. A lot of them have charge rifles on, literally vibing. They are loving that amplified damage through those rampart windows.
Yeah. No doubt, no question. Terrifying. Just terrifying. Anything, you just stand, you can't peek a rampart that has shield set up. If you let them get set up, you just have to. Talk about respect. This looks like me with a longbow. Point straight at a guy, can't hit him. Not sure what the thing is with this gun, but I am terrible.
It looks so clean, too. It's one of my favorite looking weapons, so sleek and smooth, and I wish I could just be better with it, but pretty much this is the kind of performance I put on. Now starting to hit some shots, heating up a little bit, does 120 damage there onto a pair of enemies, but it looks like the push onto the low ground comes in, the bubble gets thrown out, and this is where the rotation is going to hold for them. I do believe, who is that down there? Not Literally Vibing, that is Ranked is Harder, RGR, and Literally Vibing. Those are our final teams here, and RGR seem to be in the driver's seat on top of these tracks.
But you said Literally Vibing is still up, so correct?
Are they ever not?
Yeah.
They haven't been tonight.
Look, Banshee.
Hey,
coming in.
Banshee, L-Star and down one. That's going to be the second one down as well. RGR gets some KP out of this fight, and we're down to our final two. Literally Vibing versus RGR. RGR,
Come on,
can you
RGR.
step up to the task?
I'm blatantly rooting for RGR here because we gotta see the Titans fall here. Even if they're not truly falling, we just gotta see it happen.
This would be another one, though, where Ranked is Harder has to work for it because you can just tell they are not in the prime spot of this zone. I mean, they are in a good spot of where it's going to go, but RGR definitely has the advantage being up on those tracks.
It's so hard to beat these guys in any being banned. TikTok's falling pretty low. They get the knock onto Jaren. That's
It's huge.
It's a big pick right there. They're not going to have what they need, but Banshee's going to find a counter pick. Sadie's going to go down. Can Banshee clutch this 1v2? Not going to be able to do it.
They did it.
RGR going to clutch it in the end.
RGR, you have done what everyone else has failed to do. 4 games, actually 5 in a row. Everyone else did technically fail besides them in the 5th game. Really good stuff from RGR. Taking their time getting off those train tracks, knew they had to rotate around with that zone being how it was going to pull, but anytime you win a fight against Literally Vibing, you deserve to win the game, and that's how it had to be for RGR.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, Literally Vibing's running a bit of a jank comp, but even still, Banshee still ended up getting a counter frag, making it a 2v2. They get, RGR has to get the next kill. They had good position too. It's not like Literally Vibing had bad position. They had solid walls around them. They had circle to pull. They were forced to get pushed. It's very, very tough for them. But either way, we'll catch you right after this break with more CGL Summer Series. Be right back. And we are back for the final round of the CGL Summer Series. One more. It's late. It's only 10. It's not too bad.
Marathon
honestly.
run.
Marathon run. This is the most games we've ever casted in a row, but it's been an absolute blast. Let's take a look over at our leaderboard. Literally Vibing, not surprising anybody, but RGR bumping up into that 3rd spot. They weren't 3rd before. It was Team Viral, correct?
Now, they were 12th before. That is the most important game any team has had all night.
That was huge. That was
And
huge
we
for them.
actually did talk right on the drop of last game. They were one of the teams that actually had the KP, even though they were in lower than the bottom half of the lobby. They had 7 kills, 9 placement points, and they were not looking good in 12th, but they really turned it around right there.
Yeah, that's tough because anytime you're on the other side of that board, it means you're kind of you're facing elimination there, of course. But XLG, too, that's a funny team to look at right now. 2 kill points, but 19 placement points, showing how important placing can be over getting those kills. So still on that bubble, they get another good game. They can kind of maintain that 10, maybe jump up above Raging Nuts, because Raging Nuts, again, they got 12 kills, but 9 placement points, Perfect example between those two teams of how important placing can be over kills.
I mean,
Team Pep-
Pepinito, they've
Yeah.
got half the KP that Raging has, and they find themselves in 7th. That is really something good. Team Viral has the exact or 1 less kill than Raging. They're all the way in 5th. When
Yeah.
you get after 4th, after Ranked is Harder, the KP drops off so considerably, and it's so close from 5 all the way down to 13, where we have Pressure Alpha has 7 kills, but it's the placement points that make the difference. When are you taking these fights? How late in the game are you respecting teams in the mid? It is just so tricky to figure out and navigate the way around the map.
Yeah, it's very tricky, of course, but yeah, it's kind of fun to kind of look at after you get. It's always fun to look at the stats after a few games, but after basically all of the games have been played, it's really nice to get a chance to see
that final scoreboard. Well, not final, but see all the stats kind of start compiling, see what really happens. Obviously, the top teams, between Buff, Pathfinder, and I keep wanting to say Living Like Larry. It always goes to my head. It has for like 3
Why?
qualifiers in a row.
Why
It's-
on earth?
I don't know. So I don't know why, but literally Viaman, obviously, they all have
Living like
more-
Larry.
They have more kills than they do placement points, which is really impressive, actually, for a team like literally vibing, because they have won or gotten second in every single game, which means they have basically almost maxed their placement points and still are killing more people than that. So they're killing more than 12 people per game, is basically what that means.
Yeah, 17 points, the fewest they've gotten all night by far, averaging above 25 for all the other games. But still, I mean, a 50-plus point lead over second place, and Buff Pathfinder has 46 kills tonight. That is insane. RGR coming in so big, totaling 21 KP as they go into our final game of the night. They are smiling so wide right now because they were in the least safe position you could possibly be in if that game didn't go well for them. If they were out within the first 5, their tournament could be over.
Yeah.
Now, they probably locked in a spot in the grand final with that last game.
Which is pretty awesome, really, when you get
Gotta
right
feel
down to it.
good.
I mean,
It's
again,
gotta feel so good.
even if you come out in that grand final and you are the free KP, even
You
if
lay
that
an
does,
egg.
you made it. I mean, it's so hard to actually get into a position in any of these tournaments where you actually win and maybe make that prize pool, or it's at a certain point you're just happy to get out here, compete for quite a long time, show that you're not the worst of the worst, you can make something happen. So that's what all of these teams that have shown up here tonight, even if they've struggled, it's like, you guys were good enough to get here. There was only 40 teams picked that could have made it to this point, and you were
Yeah,
in
this
that
is
group.
already an invitational. This is no longer a qualifier, a free for all, or anything like that. It's not for all the marbles, but this is already the elite.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Looking at these teams here, what are we going to see our fan favorites picking? Looks like they're going to stick with that Rampart fuse, and there it is, Jaren, the Mirage. That's what I've been waiting to see.
yep, they're going full clown now. No rotations. They're clowning. But they're not going to be up on the board yet. They're not up here. Team with no Gibby is up there. Wait a second. Hold up. No Gibby. Did they not have a Gibby before? A non-Gibby team won?
Did RGR miss the Gibby last time? Either way, it's not like they were pushing endgame against other Gibbies. They were going up against
No.
literally vibing where Jaren was on Octane. So probably not the
Yeah.
game we're going to see Gibby make the difference, but I can't remember if they actually had a Gibby or not.
Yeah.
That's slipping my
There
mind.
was no bubble fight in that last fight ever.
No, there
So,
wasn't. They
You know
might
what's
not have had
funny?
one.
You
That's
know what's
interesting.
funny is because Jaren was the first knock. I almost said they got the Gibby down. That's so important. And then
I
I was
almost,
like,
yeah,
he's Octane.
I was there with you. Same wavelength.
He's Octane. Nope. Tough. But everyone's dropping. Is there a billion people going to Tree right now? Oh, we have a fight
These two
right away.
squads, Construction Team Evil. They've actually picked up 1 kill so far. Trying to control these elevators. Raxi trying to finish off these 2 kills below him. Able to get 1. I think the other fell as well. Squad wipe might be complete here. I'm not actually sure. I only saw the 2 downs. But back over to the action on Tree. And look what we got going on here. Article has a Sentinel and an R99. And that is a good setup for this engagement. Comes in and beams down Hokage.
How these guys play? Oh, nice attempt there. Not going to get it. They will get the finish. Team Viral. They're looking tough right there for a minute. I was like, are they going to lose this fight early? Our second seed, are they going to struggle once again? And not only struggle, but struggle right at the start? But either way, everyone's going to be getting looted off that. We're already at 15. We're not starting at 20, but, we are making it happen. Team Viral still got to regroup here, and this is the hardest point in the game to regroup because you got no loot. Team Pepinito not going out. They still have Alejandro. We'll go Ramirez on that. RMZ.
Yeah, maybe. Could just say RMZ. KTZ Quicks are the squad that just picked up that KP, and they need it, sitting at 11th currently. They need some placement points, and they need a squad wipe, maybe two, to put themselves in safe territory. But even though it's the last game of the night and a lot of the leaderboard is already shaked out the way it's going to stay, there are probably 5 teams on the bubble because it is just so close between 6th to 10th place. 26 points to 21 is all that separates 6th place to 10th. And then we've got
Yeah.
teams 11 through 17. 11 through 14 are 20, 19, 19, 18. So the bubble is big, Neely.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how important this last game can be. You can be like, well, there's 6 games, they should all be kind of important. It's yes, they are important, but at the end of the day, if you don't, G7 longbow, that's an interesting combo. No, I'm just kidding. It's so important to come out in that last game and move yourself in a different direction. This is what I was talking about at the very, very, very beginning when I was like, it's funny how people might respect each other in the first game, and then once it's the last game, you go, well, we got to go all in, get the high placement with the KP, and just try to really force ourselves into the overall final of this whole tournament.
MXH, another one of those teams right below KTZ Quick. They've got 19 total points in this one, and it looks like they have not gotten into their first skirmish yet, but they're pretty well kitted up to get into their first one. Passing up on that L-Star, looking like another teammate is going right back for it. Someone's got to pick up that gun. It's way too good not to.
This guy's got longbow Eva. I mean, this is something that I saw in ALGS a lot, is you see a guy with a long range and a short range, which, it's because you play so many fights around bubbles, and then the rest of the fights are so long range poke that it's kind of weird to run.
Mid-range almost doesn't exist
Yeah.
in the mid-game high rank.
When they can use the long range at mid range really effectively, like where like a player like me might struggle to be really flashy with a long range gun up close, they have no issue doing that. And then the same with a shot, like, a thing like the Eva, they're just going to hit all the shots up close, and that just takes place of their SMG anyway. Buff Pathfinder going right into. I've looked him up 4 times. I keep forgetting. Countdown launch site staging. It's one of them. It's the one at the south. It's the south side one. I know that at the very least.
Well, Team Viral, they've had an early exit in the last couple of games. Started out after game number 1 in 2nd place, dropping down to 5th, but still probably safe from being one of those teams that is on the bubble, but they have to be careful. They definitely need the placement points in this one. They've already got some KP, which is good to see for them. Should have them safe. But still 14 squads left. A lot could happen. SPZ knows just that, as they've lost 2 members trying to push down behind this shield, using him like a Reinhardt if you're familiar with Overwatch. And now it is a 1 versus 1 here with a Caustic
I love how
across
they
the way.
crouch behind these, dude. They're full blocks, dude. Break the. He loses it though. Wow, he broke the knockdown shield, but he still got taken out when he still had his knockdown shield. Gibby up.
Neutral Link for NRT Gaming is going to get his team 3 KP and some placement points over them, so that is good for them as well. That is definitely a team where that is going to matter a lot. Currently sitting in 8th place with 24 points. I mean, that 3 KP is enough to get them above Pampanito and NEL Tormenta. That's how much of a difference it makes.
Yeah, and depending, of course, on what those teams have done this game, but we're not going to get too into that. It's very important for you to get every point you can because of how close it truly is right now. And there's still 12 squads. Shrills gets a kill on the fence. Fence going down is going to be really, really tough. But Buff Pathfinder is now going to be rolling in here. It's amazing how quickly I forget what these team names are sometimes. Fence is on Team Viral, though. Team Viral, a team that's had a lot of trouble with consistency. And losing Fence is going to just really hammer on that consistency. I believe he used the Gibby, but again.
He is the Gibby for that team. They're down their pillar, down to their final 2. And now, I mean, they've got to run away from every engagement and really just get that placement points, because even though I said they're in 5th and they're a few points ahead, if they go down any earlier than this, I mean, if they're not in the top 10, that is when they can only spectate and just be incredibly anxious that other teams underperform.
Yeah. Also, Shrills is off. There is no scan. That just registered.
Right, Shrills was the seer.
Yeah. They're back to the Pathy. A different Pathy, but assuming that
they didn't rotate in the beginning. It's hard to remember because I don't know if the Gibby was the one that was maybe the Gibby now was on Seer and they had him on Pathy, and then they were like, no, we got to go Gibby and then have the Seer. And now they're like, screw it, we're going Gibby Pathy with the Octane. Why not? It's our identity. Buff Pathfinder.
Haven't seen literally Vibing get up to anything this game. They do have my favorite comp in the lobby so far with that Mirage to boot. Jaren playing that legend. MXH, another team down toward the bottom. They're currently sitting at 12. They got to get in the mix. They need a little bit more than placement points if they want to actually qualify for the grand final.
It's kind of funny. It looks like they're in Storm right now because it's so red, but they're not in Storm, if anyone was curious. They're just inside the circle right now.
Why is it so red?
I think it's
Is
just
that a visual
Yeah.
glitch? Yeah,
I've seen it a few times today. Semi-keyed and all that. It's not that big a deal. It's just you think, oh wow, they're fighting in Storm, but it's kind of clear, but kind of not.
It's not as red as
No,
Zone. It's
it's not.
very weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
Probably just need to switch players. Or
Come on,
two,
Respawn.
See?
Fix your game.
There.
Just kidding.
Nah, Respawn
My
does
favorite
pretty
one.
good. They just need to allow me to make a custom game without getting codes. No, I'm just kidding. I get why they do it. They want top level competition playing all the time. They don't just want, random stuff happening, and it allows them to kind of control, get an event like this going, which is fantastic.
Yeah, where any org can really enter to try and qualify, but they're kind of in control in just how high the competition does get toward the end of these tournaments. Dre Day continues as he picks up that down onto above mines, but he's lost a squad member in Bursty so far. Does nail Chronic, and that looks like it's going to be
He's
raging
so
Nut
good.
out of the game as they are cleaned up with the third party starting to come in now, Neely,
boy.
and Dre has got to run.
Yeah, he can't. He's pinched by another squad behind him. He's just going to have to hit some beams, hit the 96 on the blue armor, pulls up the Mastiff onto the gold. Going to hit a shot for 22, not what he's looking for.
Oh, literally Vibing is close by. That fuse alt only means one thing.
Yeah. Literally means one exact thing. He's got the 3 times on the L-Star, not going to use it for even
Lost
0.02
Banshee.
seconds. What's that?
Evil Ewok looks like he hit that stick to pick up that
Oh.
down onto the fuse.
Fuse is going to go down here. Literally Vibing, not really too concerned overall. They just want to see if they can clutch this out. They're still going to try. Fuse trying to crawl to safety. Nobody's going to get that finish because why would they? Look, they got the bunker. Who needs a Gibby shield? Yeah, look at this thing. Going for the res. Also notice that Rampart is never going to use that turret. Not once. Not once.
No,
never.
not in these games. Focus fire is going to be way too much.
I mean, guns are pretty good.
Guns are better than the turret. I would take an R301 over the turret
Yeah.
any gunfight I'm ever in.
Like, yeah, I've seen a few clips of the turret going absolutely crazy.
Good scan right there. They knew they were trying to go for those heals, and they actually do get the scan. They get the info that Jaren is completely out and Sadie is low, but the push doesn't come through, valuing this high ground and gambling that literally Vibing is going to have to make it through this choke. But now the Octane push comes out, and I believe they've rev alted as well, but no rev alt comes in, and Sadie bats down 2, swatting them away like flies and make it 3. Literally Vibing, standing their ground so strong.
Absolutely. Well done right there. I don't know how they swing these back, dude. It's crazy. I mean, I know how. They got him in the paper mache Gibby bubble.
Yeah, the Rampart windows for sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, like that is the calmest. That was insane accuracy right there.
Yeah. Some of these
Insane.
Gibbies seem to just they just put the guys who need to slow down and focus on aiming because they're so good at it on Gibby because they get those free peaks with the arm shield.
Good seer all right there. That should stay safe and stay up for the duration of it. And it looks like this team is going to Octane pad out of here. Running away now, but
Oh,
the scan hits
nah.
and MXH RVT. The first one to fall. Slinky, who had a great game last game, pushes up into a down. Could be some KP as well.
Yeah, they're just gonna get hunted right down here, Yelk. Can they maintain it? Maintain one person alive?
Nearly, we're down to 8 squads, and this zone is gigantic.
Yeah, I mean, people wanted their KP this time, Yelk. That's the thing. Everyone was hungry. Ranked is harder. I don't know where they were on the bubble, Yelk. I know they've been having a tough time. I feel like they were in the top 10, but not entirely sure.
Ranked is harder. Yeah, they were sitting at number 4, so they should be safe with
Okay,
their
they're
current
fine.
KP, current placement. They're fine now. They got 36 points. They are definitely in the clear. It's teams like Team Viral who might just be spectating at this point. That's probably the most nervous team in the tournament because they're at 5th place with 29 points when you could go down 8 teams and only 6 points. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Is
I
that
wish
a
I could.
down? No, not a down. Chuck Norris, however, got downed. I'm gonna point it out every
You
time.
gotta
I didn't see
chill on
anyone
that.
else on his team fall. So when Chuck Norris goes down and I notice it, I mean I have to say something.
Will they want the vault key? Probably not.
I take it.
I don't think they can get to the vault, so they're probably G.
Risking that zone scan. 8 squads left. They probably have some eyes on them. Speaking of eyes on them, this is not the high ground you want to be on the opposite side of. Literally vibing. They've got some cracks, but it looks like they're going to take this geyser and chase this.
Does look like they're gonna chase this. It's a risky chase though. Landing out of the sky like that, it takes a minute to pull your gun out. High wind is as low as he can be right now. That's terrifying. Literally vibing. Obviously gonna chase this. Take a look at the grapple. They're gonna opt to not bother shooting. Doesn't have enough bullets in his clip to, or in the background of his gun there to maybe think it's worth shooting.
Rampage with a 3 times and an L-Star just LMG'd up, and that is kind of what Banshee likes doing on this Fusey. I'm sure he's got a couple of thermites in his pockets too, so he can keep on amping this weapon up.
That's what Sadie should be actually running. Well, yeah, Banshee as well because he's on Fuse. He can get his tons of the thermites, but Sadie
could have
is
that
playing
gun amped
Rampart.
Until
So-
breakfast.
You get all the buffs to the LMGs. You get more bullets per LMG. L-Star gets an even longer time to shoot when you're playing Rampart because that's her little passive ability. So L-Star is as good as it can be in the Rampart's hands, but I don't even know if Sadie has one, so who knows? Of course.
Calm before the storm. 8 squads
There's the
left.
storm.
Chuck Norris again. My man can't escape the lead.
Yeah,
I
someone's
didn't
got to
even
go.
notice he got rezzed. The poor fella.
Poor guy.
Oh my god, why is it always Chuck?
I feel like if we did this for anybody else, we would notice how much they went down, but it just became a thing in one day. Ooh, that hit
It
fire.
did. It became a thing in one day, and no name in the lobby pops like Chuck
That's
Norris.
exactly. That's yeah. If he was on the best team in the lobby, we would think he was the best player. It's
Yeah.
just it's what it is. You get noticed.
Branding.
Branding.
Yeah. RGR, they find themselves in this game. That's what I like to see. They're still playing good coming off of that win.
Absolutely. Trying to make it happen here. They've kind of made it happen already. They've got 1 KP. They're in 6th place. They may have locked themselves into this top 10, guaranteeing them a trip to the grand finals here, y'all. Not quite confirmed. I'm sure they want to do a little better to put themselves over the top here, but 6th place is already giving some placement points, and who knows what the rest of them have for kills here. So they each had 1. I mean, they might be creeping in there.
I mean, they're definitely creeping in. I mean, it's any moment for them. They've got pretty good positioning, and they know where they want to go from here.
Ranked harder in the great spot. I remember a team I used to watch on. I keep forgetting the Korea tourney. It wasn't ALGS, but it was the Korean version. APAC North. A team called Fennel Korea would always drop here, and then when they got circled, they held this building, and it was so gross. It was, I don't know. It's just you have high ground on everything. You look out the back, high ground. You look out the front, high ground. It's crazy. So hard to push you. Can't use the zip to push you because you'll get lasered.
I love seeing this team alive on the meme
Yeah.
squad, but if you ever want to know how to play off meta, just watch these guys. Because they're playing the way it should be. They're not dummy pushing everything. They're playing Rampart around her abilities super well. They're getting damage amped through those windows. Jaren knows that if people come into push, he's got a great ability to just counter and single someone out for a duel. And then you've got Banshee to provide that constant damage like we see him doing.
Let's see some constant damage from Banshee. Or Sadie, whoever. They all have L-stars. This is horrifying. I mean, the thing is, they're using this gun, and I'm not seeing a lot of other people pick it up, but it's really good right now. It's not even like a meme gun.
The L-Star or the Charge?
No, the L-Star. Not a
It's
meme
so
gun.
good. I use
So
it
good.
so much in ranked. I love L-Star G7. That is like my shtick
good-
because of the hip fire on the L-Star. If you get a mag, the hip fire on the L-Star is so great because you can kind of like, you can trick the reload mechanic on the L-Star to just
Yeah.
give you a fresh clip even though you've
Yeah.
shot 30 bullets already.
Yeah, no. I've seen some players basically just dump 100 rounds without ever really stopping. Like, you
With
stop,
hardly a
not really-
pause. Yeah, it's incredible just the fact that you can do that with it.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild weapon right now. I don't use it as much as I should, but it is rather good. Wow, they are falling low. Slinky about as low as he can be, trying to put some cells on that gold armor. Going to get a quick recovery here.
Should be safe here. Should be safe, but say that very last wordsingly. We're down to 4 squads, so some respect being shown. Literally vibing. Do seem to be in the driver's seat here with the red armor. In decent positioning, the zone is going to close right around the center, so high ground is really going to help nobody. But this is an endgame where we actually do see this team going to have to face off against 1 or 2 Gibraltars, and we could see how that pans out once those ultimates start coming in.
He hit those shots with the L-Star at a distance, then start moving in. He's got the 2 times on it. Oh, Banshee actually getting a 301 knock. Didn't even notice that. Watching this L-Star too closely.
Sadie
Wow.
down to his last bat. They've got
Yeah.
that pad. I can tell they're eyeing it, and they're hungry to just use it and get on top of that last kill.
But they're just going to use this one to opt away. That's what's great. All these pads have been put down and not killed, and they're just like, we'll use them.
Yeah, we don't have an Octane, but I'm glad all of you do. These are really just like thoughtful rampart walls we're seeing thrown up. Always on top of a staircase. He's covering his side angles so he doesn't take much damage from that off angle. And there's always one to support some damage amp for the team. And they're keeping charge rifles always with the rampart. That gun with the damage amp is so good. Honestly, should be out of a crate, it feels like, when you start to really realize how much this thing can do when you connect through a rampart shield. That was 93 damage in a heartbeat, and a very easy hit scan shot to hit.
Yeah, the only thing that makes it a little difficult is that it takes a second for the bullet to actually come out, but it's not as difficult. It's one of those pretty easy plug-and-play guns, but they are in now, hitting 122 with the L-Star. Never really going to have to stop shooting. Going to get the down on to Slinky right there. Got that Gibby bubble up.
Ranked is
now
harder
she's-
backed against a corner. L-Star coming through, though, for Sadie. They are able to take down Ranked is harder. Only 1 member remaining, and now the Gibby ults are starting to come in. This is when it could make a difference. As Jaren has gone down, Banshee looks like he might fall as well, but he's able to get that shield swap back up to full reds,
my
and that is
beam.
right where he wants to be. Hits a beam, and it's looking like they're going to be pushing into this final squad. Quicks, the last squad opposing, literally vibing for the night.
The reviving could close it out one more time. They've got the nades. Doesn't look like Banshee's going to have the health much longer, but he's going to beam him down. Literally vibing takes 5 out of 6 on the night and absolutely dominates.
What a performance. And honestly, literally vibing winning that game is the smallest story in it, because we were saying the entire time how important it was and how this scoreboard is going to shake out and prepare us for the grand final. KTZ Quicks was the last team in that game. They were sitting at 11th place out of the conversation of grand finals. If this was a 5-game series, they don't make it. Because of that, they should be in the grand final.
Yeah, which is absolutely wild. So it's really good for any of these teams that were able to inch their way in, and I'm sure it's a bummer for those teams that kind of got nudged out at the end. We don't really know exactly who they are right away, but it's kind
We
of
will have that scoreboard updated. We're going to be showing it before the stream ends, so at least you're going to know how Group A shook out. But as far as the top 20 combined between A and B, what our grand final is going to look like, we don't quite know. But we do know how Group A is going to be finalized, and we're going to be showing you in just a few minutes. That
Is
was
that-
not me cutting to a break.
Okay, I was like, is that a break? I don't know.
That was
Seemed
not me
like
cutting to a break. I'm sorry. I probably faked you out right there.
You did. I don't believe we get a. I'm assuming we're just going to be hanging on right here until we get the score, and then we'll probably be closing it out here for the night. But I mean, the word of the night is definitely literally vibing. It's hard to keep talking about because they were just so dominant. Can't wait to talk about them again because, we're gonna. I'll tell you that right now. We're going to be talking about them again at the finals. There's no question that they're going to be in. So either way,
And there's no question that they can turn it up even when the teams get better and better. So, hey, CGL, they're going to be opening a merch store where you can get jerseys. Maybe there's a literally vibing jersey. Maybe you can pick up a Jaren or a Banshee bib. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe some of these other teams. I would love some Buff Pathfinder merch. That's a banner I could get behind on a sweatshirt. I would love to see that logo. Neil, you got so dark right there.
yeah. Sorry, I opened Discord really quick. My bad.
Ah, good old night mode.
Oh my God. But either way,
Either way,
had a good time. I mean, at this point, we have exhausted ourselves, everything. My girlfriend behind me, everyone's exhausted. It's been a whole event here. Been about
been long.
when we got here at 6, so it's been at least.
I had a
4.5 hours.
pizza get here at 7:05.
I had ramen at around 7, which was when this started.
I haven't had a slice of the pizza.
Oh my God.
It's tough. I'm gonna chow down.
We had 5-minute breaks, Burke. I mean, that was pizza time.
I just
right
had to
there.
take those to throw water on my face and cool off. It's 1,000,000 degrees in this room. I got it set up like a sauna for some reason, but we're waiting on the leaderboard right now. After we take a peek at the scoreboard for Group A, which you can see right now, we're going to be going to the end of the day highlights. We've got a lot of great replays and a ton of great plays, including one that if you weren't here to see it, you've got to keep an eye out for. Buff Pathfinder's Dre. He had the best clutch I've ever seen. Neely, looking at these final leaderboards, how different are these from after the first game? Just a totally different look from how we started.
I mean, considering SPZ falls down to 15th, very tough for them. Raging Nuts just getting knocked out. What a bummer for them, of course. Just missing. MXH, I felt like they were always sort of in it, but they weren't able to get the kills or the placement points to quite put them over the top. XLG nudging their way in with 3 kills. Jeez, that's pretty impressive. That's the passive mode of this game. Team Pepinito kind of doing a similar thing with only 8 kills. But we look at our top 3, the highlighted ones in gold, and we have 74 killed and 69 placement points with 143 points, and literally vibing. Buff Pathfinder with 52 kill points. That's insane. Considering
And that
they
team
only-
was starting to show so much depth. It started off as Bursty being the standout, and then you just kind of got the picture that Buff Pathfinder, all 3 players, a very well-rounded team. There's no supporting cast there.
Absolutely. But, I mean, I feel like that's about all there is for me tonight, y'all. Is there anything else we really need to cover here?
Now, it is late enough. I'm going to let this one go over the producers. They did a fantastic job. First time, Neil, you and I have casted with a production team, and they did not miss a storyline. I was so unbelievably impressed with how this one went. And just to end things, we've got some end-of-the-day highlights, so stick around, watch these, and have a good night.
Follow Twitter.
Yes,